All right, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the Clearview Township Council meeting. It is Monday, May the 11th, 2026. Members of council are all here present, and we have members of our staff, and we have a good full house of people here as well. They're joining us in the gallery. Council did meet at 3:30 today for an in-camera session, and we'll be reporting on that later as part of the agenda. Then we had a brief recess, and now we've returned here for 5:30 to get our meeting underway. So at this time, I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people of Canada as traditional stewards and caretaker of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Teotihuacan, the Wendat, and as the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people as part of the intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask the Creator for guidance in all that we do. Again, the land acknowledgement is said by me as the mayor of this beautiful township. I say it voluntarily. Council, as I said, item number 1 was our closed session, so we'll move over to item number 2, which is our approval of the agenda. At this time, I have the agenda in front of us. There has been some short additions to the in-camera session, of which we'll talk about later. But the regular agenda is as presented. So it's item number 2, recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated May 11, 2026 as presented. Mr. Deputy Mayor, Mr. Broderick, thank you. Any questions on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? It carries unanimous. Thank you. Declarations of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Anybody have any declarations? Not seeing any. If anything comes up during the meeting, please bring it forward. We'll deal with it right away. Now we're going to move on to item number 4, our public participation period. Please be advised that comments and views are expressed under public participation period are not the views of the Township of Clearview, Council, or the administration. Public participation is limited to 15 minutes. Each person is limited to 5 minutes. Questions or comments are already directed to the mayor, and questions shall not refer to personnel matters, litigation, or potential litigation or planning matters that have already had a public meeting or any item considered confidential. And for those members of the public that are not able to attend the meeting in person, written public participation can be provided through the township's web portal. Written comments shall be received prior to noon, the Friday before the regularly scheduled council meeting. And as always, please remember to share the time with your fellow citizens. So I will look to our deputy clerk. Emma, can you advise if we have any items for the public participation that were received on our portal?
Thank you, Your Worship. We received 5 questions for electronic participation. They've been printed in front of you. All
right, I have the 5 questions here in front of me. I've reviewed them, and I know that I'm going to have to lean to some of my staff or our staff here to help me answer some of these questions. First question comes from Mr. Dave Awitzka. It says, seeing as how council has yet again opted to buy the most expensive ice cleaner, can YUP please tell us how much additional infrastructure is required and the cost? Example of a charging infrastructure. Is there a fire suppression system for this potential lithium bomb? Is there any extra costs for insurance coverage? I think you're assuming quite a bit here, Mr. Witzka. I'll tell you what, we've already had this installed at our Stainer Arena. I do not know the answer in regards to the additional infrastructure, but I'm certain that a charging station was included when we purchased the one at Stainer. So I'll turn to our Director for Recreation, Terry Vachon, if you could just assist me in understanding what will be going on with this purchase in Creemore.
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, to answer the questions, some additional costs are involved. Is basically just one, which is setting up the electrical disconnect unit for the charging station. When we did it for the Stainer Arena, it cost about $500. So we're seeing probably we'll have the same cost for that, but that's pretty much the only additional cost. There's no fire suppression system that's required, similar to an automobile. There's no fire suppression system that's required on an electric vehicle, very similar for an electric Zamboni or ice resurfacer. And there are no, excuse me, there are no extra insurance costs to have a electric ice resurfacer.
All right, thank you very much for your answer. I think that answers that question, and Look forward to council's discussion on this item. The next one comes from a written submission from Mr. Dave Witzka. It says, considering a propane-powered Zamboni has a 20-plus year life cycle when properly maintained, how long before the silly green EV lasts? How long before battery replacement is required, or do taxpayers just buy a brand new unit in 10 years? Mr. Vachon.
Thank you, Your Worship. A little bit harder to answer, but yes, those ice resurfacers typically have a 10-year lifespan. So after the 10 years, depending on the life cycle of the batteries, there may be a need to replace the existing unit. But that is the lifespan of ice resurfacers. It's industry standards, 10 years.
Okay. Let's be clear. Taxpayers purchase our equipment for the arenas regardless, whether it's EV or not. All right, thank you. I have another one here from Mr. Dave Witzka. Seeing as how we, the taxpayers, yet again are on the hook for the more expensive backhoe by $40,000, perhaps staff should learn to adapt to operating new equipment instead of capitulation to their every whim. When does council actually be fiscally responsible? I will answer the last question here. We are fiscally responsible in every decision we make here. There is no doubt about that, given that we work with very good professional staff, and you've got 7 members of council that are all reviewing this information and making the best fiscal responsible decisions that we can make. To Todd, Todd Patton is here. Todd, this is your report to buy a backhoe. Is there a comment about the most expensive or the more expensive backhoe by $40,000? Could you just comment on that and on why that's there? Or what's that status?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through Your Worship, yeah, the JCB that was priced lowest, we currently have a JCB. Over the 10 years or 8 years we've had that, repairs have been more than the current cat we have, the previous cat we have, downtime, operator, basically familiarity is coming into play for this. They spend a bit more money on the cat as opposed to going with the lowest tender price for this one. I can get into more whenever we go through the report, but
Yeah.
it's basically it. It makes sense fiscally for us to spend a little more money now for the long term, not pay on an operations maintenance cost, basically.
All right, thank you very much. We'll discuss that with council when we get to that report. Thank you very much for that answer. Number 4. This is a written submission from Mr. Dave Witzka. Seeing as taxpayers are purchasing another grader, I see in the comments attached that the 8-year-old grader could be sold between $200,000 and $300,000. Can you guarantee that as a 100% certainty? Will anyone on council post a link to corroborate this after the transaction? At $200,000 and $300,000 is the estimated value when we put something up for sale through the auction sites for municipal assets. We don't know what it's going to sell for, and so we'll have to see what we get when we get it. Todd, can you help me out here in regards to this $200,000 to $300,000 range? I think that's probably a number that goes with used equipment like that.
Yes, through Your Worship. Yeah, I took some numbers off of the GovDeals site where we sell used equipment on now, and a similar model, 2015, sold for $285,000. They range from 200 to 300, and that's why I put the broad range in there as opposed to saying we're going to get 285. Once again, we can't guarantee what we're going to get for it, but it was just to give council an idea.
Right. Back to a previous question then, fiscal responsibility. Of course, we're being very fiscally responsible because we're going to get the best price we can at the time the market, we put the piece of equipment up for sale. And that's my answer to that one. Number 5. This one comes from Mr. Dave Witzka. Are 100% of taxpayers funding the Zancor subdivision stormwater rehabilitation project? If so, why? Will taxpayers be doing the same adjacent to the medical center of the Charles Diner Plaza. The interesting thing that Mr. Witzka brings up here is this whole business of the stormwater rehabilitation project. It's a very regrettable situation that all municipalities in Ontario have fallen into, and that is that the design of subdivisions provide stormwater management and stormwater rehabilitation ponds. However, the province doesn't allow us to take funds to manage those over the next 100 years. And so as a result, when the property gets transferred into the municipal property, it does become a municipal responsibility. Mr. Perreault, can you just corroborate what I'm saying and the fact that the taxpayers are responsible for the stormwater management facility that we have off of the Zancor subdivision, which I guess is just off of Country Lane, I think is the street. Yes, go ahead, Dan.
Thank you, Worship. And I would add that stormwater, unlike water and wastewater, has not been treated the same as you alluded to for many years. Some municipalities do implement a user fee, I'll call it, as part of the property tax. However, you recall a few years ago, we introduced a reserve for stormwater management, as we have a number of stormwater management ponds that do require maintenance and haven't been considered by previous councils and staff to properly maintain them. And so as part of our recent approvals through CLI ECA, there are certain requirements that we maintain them and report to the province Ministry of Environment on a regular basis, a yearly basis. And so 2 years ago, we cleaned out the pond at the Collingwood Lands subdivision. And this year, we'll be cleaning out, if council approves the tender, it comes up later on in the agenda, we'll be cleaning out this pond that has been assumed by the municipality for many years. And it's just desperately required.
100%. So yes, at this current time, stormwater management ponds are a problem, and they are a liability to the municipality when it comes to the maintenance fees that are provided to them. So it will be a very interesting time when the province allows us to actually set up a better system to better manage the future maintenance of stormwater management ponds. So thank you very much for the question. That's all I have from the written portion. So now we'll open to the floor. And I think we have a guest speaker who'd like to come up and speak at this time. So I'll open up the microphone floor to anyone on the floor who wants to bring forward public participation. Going once. Hi, Gord, welcome. You got a green light there in front of you?
I do.
Excellent, thank you, sir.
Good evening, Your Worship, Deputy Mayor, councillors, staff, members of the public, both present and online. My name is Gord Ziegel. I'm a resident of Clearview Township and a small business owner. I'm here this evening to express my opposition to report PCR-011-2026 and also to the previous policy A09-REC passed by this council on January 12, 2026. It is my submission that the amended policy before you and the previous policy approved are not in the best interests of the sports facility users and taxpayers of Clearview Township now or in the future. Excuse me. The last 4 years, it has been my pleasure to serve my community as a member of the Committee of Adjustment for Clearview Township. I have embraced my training and value the education I have received and the wisdom I have attained from working with the employees and the wisdom, from working with the employees and staff in our planning department, as well as our council. My company supplies land use planning services as well, and therefore I am in attendance at many council meetings. One common thing that I have observed at council meetings is during various presentations by different department heads, they do a comparison of other towns or similar municipalities in central Ontario for what they're proposing and why they're proposing to do it. I have researched several ice and diamond allocation policies, and Clearview Township and Wasaga Beach are the only two centers that place non-municipal minor sports organizations ahead of their adult user groups or grandfathered groups. These are all centers, I'm going to tell you some centers that are all around us geographically and give the examples of what their policies contain. Collingwood doesn't have a similar policy to ours. In fact, Collingwood's policy requires 80% of the registrants to be from there. I don't think they enforce that, but that's their policy. New Tecumseh, they actually charge non-residential groups an additional 30%. In Elmville, priority is given to minor sports groups within the township and local residents, following a residents first approach. ESSA townships list the priority for existing local adult groups ahead of non-resident groups after local demand is met. Their policy states local organized groups, youth and adults, take precedent over outside leagues, as does Southgate Township in Dundalk. I happen to have a good relationship with the councillor at the municipality of Grey Highlands, and he states that they will not support anything that does not take into consideration local groups, teams, residents, or historical usage. Barrie priority lists. 1, this is in order of priority. City of Barrie programs. 2, affiliated youth organization with 80% being Barrie residents. Affiliated adult organizations with 80% being Barrie residents. Board of Education is 4, 5 is private users, 6 commercial and non-resident users. They also state that the City of Barrie recognizes the tax-based contribution provided by its residents towards the development and operation of recreational facilities, whereby residents will always receive priority over non-residents in the allocation of facility time. Owen Sound. Number 1, Junior A. We all know about the attack. Number 2, Junior B. Number 3, Owen Sound programs. Number 4, minor sports groups defined as a non-profit recreational group based in the city of Owen Sound. Seasonal organizations defined as groups that use an ice facility on a weekly basis for an entire season, such as adult and women's hockey leagues. The city wishes to recognize long-term groups. They provide grandfathered status up until this year of 2010. If a grandfathered group gives up their ice time or fails to apply for ice in consecutive seasons, they will lose their grandfathered status. The city recognizes the tax-based contributions provided by its residents and recreation partners towards the development and operation of recreation ice facilities, and recognizes that residents will receive priority over non-residents in the allocation of ice time. As you can see, Many centers support and protect the tax-paying user groups that continue to fund their local facilities. This comparison, had it been made available to you on January 12th, may have changed your decision to support the proposed new allocation policy that you passed. Your Worship, 5 or 6 years ago, I was part of a group that approached the township, along with Deputy Mayor Van Staveren, in opposition to lowering the speed limit on several roads in Clearview Township. I was impressed with your mannerism and approach to receive our thoughts, our feedback, and our proposals as concerned taxpayers. I assume that that approach is still welcome. Would I be correct? I am going to share my experience I have recently had with senior management and the Recreation Department. Firstly, I'd like to state that I'm not opposed to other outside organizations receiving more ice, minor sports organizations. What I'm opposed to is taking it away from adult user groups and small businesses who live and work and play in this community. Up until recently, we were working with senior management and the Recreation Department to achieve this goal of finding more ice for minor sports groups. We had found at this time 3 additional hours of ice time that could have been utilized by outside minor sports groups. However, I received an email on April 9th from the Rec Department stating that my help was no longer needed, that there's no need to meet with my department or me regarding the ice schedule for the 26-27 season. Despite this setback, we have continued to work with adult user groups, and we hope to have identify more ice for minor sports. All total to this date and tonight, as I was working it on again today, I have identified over 30 hours of extra usable ice time for minor sports. Finally, the reason that most of these young gentlemen are here this evening, the issue of mistrust in your new policy stems from the removal of an adult user group of over 15 years on July 15th, 2025. In an email on July 18th, senior management justified the removal of ice from the low group, stating the 6 p.m. ice time ought to be for kids. Clearview Minor Hockey now has that ice time. Ice time is an extremely high demand for prime time hours. And frankly, we need more ice pads. The growth all communities are experiencing is not going to go away, and the demand on municipal services will continue to increase. I believe this email trail was not shared with any of our councillors. Under the sports facility user group allocation policy, it states, the policy is founded on the principles of fair, equitable, transparent, and consistent manner. The treatment of the low group adult user rental ice time was not fair. It was not equitable, nor transparent. If this is the consistent manner, then how can all prime time user groups expect the same treatment? The new proposed amendment, PCR 011-2026, states, among other things, to maintain positive relations with citizens who use township facilities in good faith. It also states, this policy is to guide the township's future decisions with reasonable intent not to change existing hours. Finally, it says, as new facilities come online and our community grows, This policy will continue to reasonably guide time allocation with the intent of not disrupting users' time allocation without first consulting solutions. I would put forth that that did not happen here. My questions through your worship is, how does this maintain positive relationships with your long-term adult user groups? Is this an example of reasonable intent not to change existing hours? And is this an example of not disrupting users' time allocation without first consulting solutions? Where are the solutions? In regards to the exchange of emails with the Low Group, can you explain ice time is in high demand and we need more ice pads? Please explain that to me. There is no growth forecast in Clearview minor hockey or figure skating in Creemore or Stainer. Are you proposing new ice pads due to this perceived demand? I have come up with, given that I have come up with over 30 hours of unused ice time that reflects policies in other centers and ice use. Are you aware that there are over 560 men and women that are part of adult user groups in Clearview Township? My last question is, can you explain the lowering of the threshold from 50% residential requirements for non-municipal sports groups to 20%, as is proposed in your amendment this evening? Lastly, this policy was poorly constructed and communicated to the public, in my opinion, especially given the January 12th timing. This policy did not include a comparative study of the surrounding centers, as is normally common practice in watching our various departments in this township. Some of the user groups feel that with the comments and treatment of the Low Group, that the written policies and verbal assurances that staff are giving to the user groups that are contained in the policy are meaningless. And the treatment of the group is not acceptable by our standards in Clearview Township. Given the information presented to council this evening and the public opposition, especially from the sports community, to this policy, I ask council not to support this amended policy proposal, PCR 011-2026. Further, given the circumstances surrounding this approval of policy 109-REC on January 12, 2026, I ask that council consider rescinding this policy and that the Low Group be reinstated to their Thursday night ice time. Thank you.
Gord, don't go away. I need to, this is public participation, so
Sure.
You posed some questions to me, so I'm going to answer them.
Excellent. Thank you.
First one that I caught that you specifically wanted an answer for was about being welcome to speak and how you spoke here about speed reduction along with the deputy mayor, et cetera. Of course you're welcome to speak. Absolutely. When people bring forward reasonable, expectations and changes with a path forward to success, absolutely. That's why we're here. We're a council. We're here to hear what people have to say, and then we'll balance those decisions based on that. And so, absolutely, you're welcome to come and speak. That's why public participation is like this. So that's one answer for you. Talk about maintaining positive relations with user groups. I would suggest to you that I think that there's been several meetings with user groups. Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Vachon hosted a pretty big meeting a while back where he made proposals and suggestions about how user groups can work together to find some solutions. And as I understand it, in that user group discussion, because I was not there at that meeting. As I understand it, there were some solutions that were provided, and user groups were finding opportunities to share and move ice times around together. There was some financial incentives offered through economic development to make that work, and it was successful. And I understand that this group, the low group, didn't qualify for those incentives because they are not a bona fide organization, charity, or a user group that is a identified entity. To be honest, as I understand it, the low group is this gentleman right here and others who are members of our community who get together and rent the ice, and they all chip money into the pot to help pay for the cost of it. I mean, am I wrong, gentlemen? That's kind of how you do it. You pay for it, right? And you use the ice. So, we do have positive relations with our user groups, for certain. And the other thing too about lowering the proposal rating, council was about to debate that when we received that on here. And in regards to your comment about the communications and comparative studies, I wrote that down. It's always been a bugaboo of mine. It bothers me a lot that we don't have really effective communications avenues available to us as municipal leaders to get messaging out directly and timely and so on. We are, a restricted organization such as a municipality, and we have to follow procedures with public documents and release of public documents, et cetera. And as I understand it, the staff did everything they could to contact everybody and shared the information as quickly as possible about this happening. So we work within the rules that we have in front of us, and that's as good as it gets. To be quite honest, we have a local newspaper that does a pretty good job covering us. We have some local radio, and we have a website, and the crazy thing is we actually have two websites, right? We've got clearview.ca and discoverclearview.ca. So we've got two websites that are operating, and so neither one is exactly the same as the other, but nevertheless. So we have some opportunities for communications, and it is a difficult thing for me as a 36-year professional communicator that I have to deal with these situations. So Gord, those are some of the answers I'm going to provide you on this. I would say that, your comments about outside user groups, I've heard it over and over and over again. I know this council has. We've all been contacted by members of the women's hockey group, and it's interesting to note how many members of that hockey organization are actual Clearview Township residents. And so those are taxpayers as well, just like you are a taxpayer and I am a taxpayer. And so those residents certainly deserve an opportunity to use ice surfaces here in our community as well. So we have a problem here in South Georgian Bay, and that is that we have facilities and a lot of people want to use them. So it's about working with our neighbors to make it work well, as in our neighboring municipalities. Our relationship with Collingwood and Wasaga Beach, Town of Blue Mountains, Grey Highlands, and even down to Mulmer has been really good. There's ice surfaces all around us that get used. Certainly, the Flesherton rink does still get used. So there's a lot of user groups travel to use ice surfaces. I get it. As far as this group moving from the 6 o'clock hour prime time, it's a policy of this township that youth activities, youth athletes are a priority for sure. And that's definitely in there. 6 o'clock for a men's pickup league is not within that policy. And so working to find a better time to suit the youth requirements as well as the adult requirements is what the staff have been doing. And the final thing I want to mention to you, well, we're a council, we set the policies, and we don't get involved in the scheduling of this, all right? There are 4 staff members who are involved in it. 2 of them are in this room tonight. I'll just mention the first staff person is the actual scheduler. She does a very good job. She has a lot of phone calls and things that she has to balance, baseball fields and soccer fields and even renting parks and these type of things. So she's got a lot of scheduling that she does. Second to that is the manager of the department. She's also involved in that as well. She focuses a lot on tourism, but her role is to be the manager. And then the director, Terry, who's here, and the CAO, John Ferguson, who's here. So those 4 staff people, they execute the policies that are set by the township when it comes to scheduling our facilities. Council does not get involved in scheduling our facilities. Done. Stop. So I hope that helps you, Gord. This has been a really difficult thing. And if you don't mind me saying, I think you've kicked up a bit of a hornet's nest here. And I think that it's actually going to cause us a whole lot of grief down the road because we've built a really good relationship with supporting youth hockey and supporting our neighboring municipalities on how they manage and schedule their rinks as well. The question about Collingwood charging people to use their facility, if they're non-residents, they have a non-resident user fee that they don't enforce, right? I find it very interesting that, for some 25 years, Collingwood Minor Hockey was run by 2 gentlemen from Nottawa, which is in Clearview Township. It's also interesting to note, as an aside, that the president of the Collingwood Legion was from Nottawa, not from Collingwood, right? So, they have to respect the fact, too, that many of their volunteer organizations run by volunteers that come from Clearview Township. Absolutely. Whereas the user groups, they also come from all over. I would suggest to you that you could probably ask Terry and the schedulers that there was a group of gentlemen from Collingwood who would rent the rink in Creemore quite late at night. I think it was a 10 o'clock rental that they had. These guys come down from Collingwood and play in the Collingwood rink, play in the Creemore rink from Collingwood. We didn't charge them anything extra. We don't have a user fee based on, taxpayer status. We don't do that. Because overall, our recreation departments are so subsidized and funded by taxpayers' dollars across the entire township. It also points out the obvious too. We pay taxes for a lot of services that we don't even use, right? I don't mind telling you, and I've shared this with other people, I'm on the board of the Clearview Public Library. I've been a resident here since this township was served, and I have never taken a book out from the Clearview Public Library. Never. Never. I don't even have a library card, and I'm the mayor, okay? I don't even use that service, but we do spend money on it. There's no doubt about it. So there's a lot of people who don't use our recreational facilities that are paying for our recreational facilities, for sure. Is that helpful, Gord?
I'd like to respond.
Please do.
So you didn't answer my question. My question was, you welcomed people like me to be involved in council and with your various departments.
Sure.
I was involved with the department in a meaningful way to create ice time for minor sports groups, and we were shut down. So how can I help Collingwood Girls Minor Hockey by helping make ice time when you're saying it's up to the department and they can shut me down, but yet you invited me to help?
Well, again, we don't set that. Like, this council doesn't set it. Like, we do not create the schedule.
Yeah, but you welcomed me to help.
We
your
did.
community and members of.
Sure. By you being here tonight, you're bringing that forward, and I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
No, I am. I'm happy that you're here to bring it up. The issue is that the policy set by this council,
Yes.
youth are the priority, okay? And so that's the policy that's been set, and they're working it the best that they can. And I think they did a pretty good job of hosting a meeting to try to sort this out, to try to eliminate the grandfathering, because we knew in the future grandfathering was going to cause us even more problems. Many
why is
communities
that?
have done that. Well, because we're going to be looking at new recreational facilities. And so we have to, build new facilities based on new user groups, right? Or more time being used. So we have to start new. We can't just keep the grandfathering going forever. It just eliminates the opportunities for anybody else to use a facility too.
So what's not working now?
I think we're we can go around and around and talk about it, but I'm thinking, Gord, I'm glad you're here to bring it up, and I think that our staff has certainly heard it. If I can, Mr. CAO, was there anything from that meeting that you held with all the user groups that you'd want to share, and how we were able to, or you were able to, satisfy user groups in their requests? And what can you share for us in that? Because none of us were there.
So thank you, Your Worship. We called meetings amongst the user groups, and we invited everybody to come. We were talking about the opportunity to negotiate changes of ice time between the groups without people getting at odds with one another. Not everybody stayed. Some left right away without even a discussion. But with that said, the first kick at the can, nobody came together. They didn't work it out at that meeting. There were some, I think, hurt feelings from previous opportunities to try to work together. So we thought we would provide an incentive for people. And as you suggested, the men's group, because they weren't a club, we can't give money to an individual. We have to give it to an organization. And so just their makeup, we would have liked to have given them some sort of sponsorship for the exchange, an economic exchange for changing their ice time. But we certainly did have a discussion, attempted to consult with, I think it was Mr. Lowe. Mr. Lowe, unfortunately, wouldn't come in to meet with me. So we spoke on the phone, and we spoke about the opportunity to get alternate ice time. So to suggest that there was no consultation, there was. And we even spoke to a couple of other people that were on the team to try to lessen the blow and to see if we could find another ice time for them, for which we did on Saturday afternoon. So it wasn't an easy decision. Minor hockey has a significant amount of usage that they need every year. And as it is right now, we don't know what that ice time usage is because they haven't finalized their registrations. So we don't know how free ice time could be calculated at this point. We have to wait for those registrations to come in. If you're comparing it to last year, then you may come up with those numbers, but those numbers don't mean anything until the new registrations are finalized. So that's what staff is working through. On top of that, minor hockey got 45.5 hours of usage, mainly prime time, okay? Girls hockey, and there's 121 girls in Clearview Township that play in that league, and they got 5 hours. We ended up negotiating another half hour from minor hockey so that the Collingwood girls could get an hour. And then public skating, the department decided to move public skating on Saturday, and it allowed for Collingwood girls to get 2 hours. So Collingwood girls get 7 hours. We have communicated that we're not interested in changing anybody's time. We're not. We want to keep everybody happy. We've discussed that, and we tried to make sure it happened, but a Thursday at 6 o'clock is really prime time. And most organizations, even on the communities that you listed, prioritize youth primetime hours right across the board, and mainly because of the importance of having youth involved at those hours. We can't have them up late at night. We don't want them driving late at night in the snow. We want to make sure that they're physically active and they grow into be future leaders in the community. And so we try to make every opportunity available for young people. That's really the focus of why they're the priority. Regardless if they're considered an outside group, Collingwood's Girl Hockey has 121 members registered last year. In our policy, we're simply saying that we'd like for them to maintain that priority, they have to have at least 20%. They have about 25% membership, okay? So if they're below 20%, we may take a look at that. But at the end of the day, the idea is to try to accommodate everybody. Unfortunately, the only entity, the only group that was sort of hurt by this was the men's pickup game on Thursday evening. That's the only group that didn't voluntarily work with another group and have something happen. That's the only group that was impacted.
So through your worship, Not disrupting users' time allocation without first consulting solutions means you just pick one group and that's who you consult with? Or do you find solutions as to where to move them?
Through you, your worship, the policy hadn't been written at that time. We were simply trying to see if we could find another couple of hours of ice time, prime time for youth. The policy was written after the fact. So when we spoke to the adult group, I was very respectful to Mr. Lowe. I said, I appreciate that you have businesses in the community. We want to keep you happy, but that particular ice time is more important to the youth. And that's just how we felt about it. And we discussed it in detail with council. And we did discuss it with the community groups that came to the meeting that were invited. But Mr. Lowe left that meeting.
So to be clear, through your worship, to be clear, you took away this user group's ice time on Thursday night at 6. You gave minor hockey, you took minor hockey ice group from Friday night and moved them into that time slot.
No, we were able to get a half an hour. What we did is we bumped minor hockey from 6 o'clock. They were at 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We bumped them up to 6:30 to 9:30. That was able to give us an extra half hour for girls hockey.
Sure.
When we were talking about other prime time, because minor hockey was concerned about the ice time, we looked at that 6 o'clock time and said, really, that should be for youth. That's about where it came from, Gordon. And
But the Friday night ice time was Creemore minor hockey, or Clearview minor hockey. They have a block. So you moved them into the Thursday night ice time. A half an hour, that's fine. You gave the time on Friday night to an outside minor sports group, and you moved an hour and a half of adult skating time to the next day, Saturday. So you created 2.5 hours on the Saturday, right? These guys moved into the 3 o'clock time slot. Adult skating was an hour and a half after that. So there's 2.5 hours of ice time right there that you could have just given the Collingwood girls hockey and left everybody else where they were.
when all the groups got together, they just couldn't negotiate those times, Gordon. And so when we were looking,
Okay.
well,
That's the fact.
I'm speaking to the reality of what happened.
We know the reality.
And that is what happened.
We know the reality. So how can you give the assurance to our adult user groups that the same thing's not going to happen to them? We already have many primetime ice users that are sitting here today worried about their ice time. Are they going to get the same treatment?
Your Worship, I was contacted by, I think, Jan, and absolutely spoke to her, said, look, don't worry about it. We're not going to do that. We're going to work with people. And as we say in that policy, we're not going to change an ice time unless we have consultation with the solution. And that is the policy.
So Clearview Township user groups and taxpayers beware. Thank you.
Gord, we've given you lots of time to talk about this here tonight. I'm happy to have you come and speak. I really am.
Okay.
And
through your worship, thank you. I would love to hear from the
serious.
other councillors as well if you feel the same way. Thank you.
Well, I know they do. I know we do, because we're happy to have you come speak about this.
That's
And
great,
and
but I'd
we
like to
know-
hear from them individually and see how they feel. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. It's happy to have you here, and thank you, gentlemen, for attending and understanding that, we have to, as John said very well, he said, we're going to try to build the new leaders of our community by, letting them play some sports. And I look across this side of the room right here and thinking there's a bunch of new leaders in our community right here that, should be sitting up here perhaps. So there you go. Thank you very much. All right, is there anybody else? Jan, do you want to speak? Yes, please come right forward. If you don't mind, you might have to pull that mic down just a little bit. You're a little different elevation than Gordon.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you.
I did email all the counselors because I was concerned. I was very concerned. I'll be honest, I'm emotional about this. I've gone through this in other municipalities. Collingwood and Wasaga Beach. Collingwood, I understood. I totally respected girls minor hockey developing and growing. And the Blues team coming back. Great for the town. But I had to go through it with Sega Beach too. 20 years, 40 years of coaching there. I lost all my ice this spring. None. When that letter came in April, or January, on a Friday night, I was probably the first one to reply. And at the end of it, I said, and will I lose my ice? I just want you to know, I was told at all those other locations, especially with Sega Beach, I was not losing my ice in the new facility. And I have 2 hours on Saturday morning in May. And a lot of you, some of I've taught your kids at spring school in Sega Beach, and you know I taught a lot there. So I don't want this to happen to me in my hometown. That's all I've got to say.
Jan, thank you very much for everything you've done. And we, as John said, you know, these staff are not wiping out. That opportunity, I believe, is still going to be there. You just have to work with them to find the right place. Please.
I've talked to John, and it was great. It was fine. I'm fine. I just think council needs to know that don't let this happen here.
Yeah.
That other location, I have a user group that took my ice that moved into the area 4 years ago from Mississauga. And why did they get it? They have a nonprofit number and they're youth.
Yeah.
But they're profit, and we know it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Is there anybody else who'd like to come forward and speak? Sorry, I was going to cut things off, but I can let the public participation continue. Please come right up.
Won't take up much of your time.
You can move that up if you want.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Tim Talbot, Your Worship.
Hi, Tim.
Prime time, 6 o'clock. Makes sense. Why is Saturday at 3 not prime time? And why did the decision get made to shift us there instead of keeping us at 6?
John or Terry?
Through your worship, primarily it's the kids are in school through the week, and having a 6 o'clock ice time on a Thursday evening means that they'll be home earlier and get their rest and get to school the next day. It's meant to be for the youngest kids, is really what it's for.
Doesn't add up to me, but respectful your answer.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Terry, did you have something you want to add to that, or? Yep.
Not during public participation, Your Worship. I can answer some questions during the report stage, but
Okay.
public participation, no.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward? Anybody else with anything you want to add? Okay, all right. Is anybody else? Okay, then we'll cut off public participation. Thank you all that participated. And Gord, again, like I said, very happy to always have you speak at any time. You know, it's interesting when I have to read the script here before public participation, it says it'll be 15 minutes. That's because we had to set a policy, how long it will be. As the mayor, I'm just going to let it go until we get to the point where everybody's had something to say that they want to say. Okay? I'm not going to cut anybody off. So thank you very much. The policies are always adjustable. Okay. Council, let's move on then. We have no delegations, we have no public meetings, and at this time we do have the approval of the council meeting minutes. Recommendation be it resolved. Council of the Township Clearview hereby approve the minutes of the April 27, 2026 council meeting and the April 29th, 2026 special council meeting as presented. Councilor Janine, thank you. Councilor Walker, thank you. Are there any questions on those minutes? They're all good? All in favor? Minutes carry, thank you. And now we have the correspondence items. First item is our closed session report. I do have a closed session item to report. Council, we have a recommendation that came from closed session. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby direct staff to act in accordance with the direction provided in closed session regarding the Deviation Road Court decision. Very good. Can I ask for mover and seconder on the floor? Who's got that? Mr. Broderick, Mr. MacArthur, thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you. In regards to the development agreements responsibilities, that is no items at this time to bring forward. However, I can assure you, later on in the meeting, there's a discussion that I'm going to be bringing up. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to item number 8.2, which is Bill 100, Better Regional Government Act 2026 Council Support Resolution. Now, Council, I asked for this to be put on the agenda, but I did not know at the time when I asked our clerk to put this on the agenda that the House in Toronto, the provincial House, passed Bill 100. So Bill 100 is now actually fully enacted. So, Council, while there's a great resolution on our agenda, I don't think there's anything we can do even if we did pass this. So I would ask, if you're comfortable, I'm going to remove it unless you feel you need to discuss it. Thank you. Council, we're going to consider 8.2 removed from the agenda. Done. We're going to move to item 8. Yes, you have something?
Just, I know we're removing that from the agenda, but I think there still has to be something defined as far as the role of the warden in this, and I don't know if at a later date whether we would bring this back to include the warden as an elected official or an assigned official by province. So I'd just like to make sure we're aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the point is, though, is that Bill 100 passed, and it said that the minister will appoint.
There's still room to negotiate.
Yeah, let's hope so.
It's not finalized. We still have a 30-day period, so.
Okay. But don't go away, Deputy Mayor. The NVCA media release is here. Did you have anything you want to speak about the tracking tool?
I just wanted, the tracking tool is something for a lot of the business people, that the online portal is open now for electronic submissions. It's not on the big applications yet, but on the private applications, it's up and running, and so far we're the envy of the community as far as the availability. The other thing I just want to add about the NVCA, the new legislation that was passed or recommended by the province was made formally on April 23rd. It went through the legislature and passed, and so now, as most of you are aware, we are going from 32, 34, whatever how you want to define it, and conservation authorities down to 8. So we are now part of, we will be part of the Lake Huron Regional Conservation Authority, and which will come into effect approximately February 1st of next year. Our term, even though our elected term will end on October 26th after the election, this term will probably be extended further into February, and we'll be dealing with that accordingly. And it's yet to play out who will be the assigned members, elected or appointed. We're going through the same thing for the NVCA, so stay tuned. We'll see what happens with it, but the province has made it law.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. There's a couple items here from the county, compost sales at compost waste facilities. And the Simcoe County celebrated the grand opening of the Barrie-Collingwood Railway Active Transportation Trail. I think many of our members of council were there, many of our staff were there, and we had our visiting councils from Essa Township and Collingwood visited us here in Stayner. For that, it was a great little event, and it was a pleasure to have everyone join us in Stayner on a very cool morning. We also have the Simcoe County recognizes May as Health and Emergency Services Appreciation Month. And so that's part of Emergency Preparedness Week as well, which is coming up. So that's a good one. There's also board highlights here from the NVCA. Did you want to speak to that, Paul?
I think we've got everything under control, what I just said.
Yeah.
We passed our budget. We do have a balanced budget, minimal increase, and right now we will be asked to pass a budget in December of this coming year, even though we will not have the ability or approve a budget because the province has not defined yet how the conservation authorities will be funded going forward and how our budgets will work. So I remind everybody that pretty near 50% of our budget in NVCA is by donation. They're great at fundraising, and about only 3% of the money that we use in our budget comes from the province. The rest is funded through the municipality. So budgets are a very sensitive item right now, and going forward this coming year, we do not know how it's going to play out. So,
okay.
Big discussion at our meetings.
Great, thank you very much. That's it. Is there anything on there, any items that council wish to pull or have discussion? All right. Let's move on. Ward reports are next. Councillor Walker, you are leading us off.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. Not a whole lot. April 29th, attended the planning meeting. I was not able to attend the trail opening and the duck races due to appointments. We have the accessibility meeting tomorrow, and then library on the 19th of May. That's it, Your Worship.
All right, thank you very much. Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mine won't be quite as short. April 28th, I was at the Huronia West OPP Detachment Board meeting, and as a result of that, in the end of May, Mr. Plews, myself, and Emma are going to represent the board in Niagara Falls at the AGM conference there. April 29th, I was at the planning meeting. April 30th, I was at the trail opening. May the 6th, the Climate Action Committee meeting, we met there. May the 8th, I was at the Civic Prayer Breakfast in Collingwood and left very inspired. And on May the 9th, Saturday night, I was at the New Lowell Dart Banquet. I want to commend the volunteers at the Legion for running a very good dart league. And I promised people that if I won something there, I would wear it. So I am wearing my new sweater. 3 teams finished tied for first. We had a 1-game playoff. We ended up being the runners-up, so we didn't get the coat. We got the hoodie, which I'm told isn't a hoodie because there's no hood. So this, I learned, is called a Q-zip. So I learned something.
Okay.
What else? May 14th is the Tulip Festival, and it should be a good time, and I get to be the MC once again.
And we all look forward to that, too. This is the first one I've been able to attend in about 4 years, so I'm really grateful that I'll be able to attend that with you, Marty, and I look forward to your dutiful work as the MC.
And Dutch words.
And yes, and Dutch words. Ole bole, that's all I know. Thank you. Councillor Deneen.
Thank you, Your Worship. Went to the rail trail, and like you mentioned, we all braved the cold that day. That was just way too cold to be outside. Just an announcement on the 23rd, May 23rd, it's a Saturday. The Georgian Bay Anglers Association, the OFA, and Georgian Bay Forever are having it's called From Class to Creek. It's at the Nottawa Ballpark. Students have been raising trout at the schools, along with the Georgian Bay Anglers Association. They've been raising some as well. They're going to release them that day between 11 and 2, and there's going to be hot dogs and hamburgers and lots of activities. And I understand that the school-raised fish are bigger than the ones that were raised at the hatchery because the kids kind of got diligent in feeding them. So they're good-sized fish. They're supposed to be there for the kids to fish out all summer long, and maybe into the fall. And rain date will be the 24th, again, 11 to 2 on May 23rd at the Nottawa Ballpark. Everybody's welcome. Apology for the dumpster at the hall. Huronia has been short-staffed, so it's a bit of a mess right now. They were supposed to trade it out today. They ran into problems, and we have a standing rental on Monday night, so I asked them to do it tomorrow morning, and we'll reload it. And that will be our 6th dumpster. And that's, yeah. So anyway, thanks to everybody, and that's it for me.
I did note that the dumpster was quite full because I dropped a few things off and had to leave them outside the dumpster. So
There were 2 pailfuls of pennies there.
Was there?
But they disappeared.
Oh, no kidding. Can't imagine. Price of copper, I guess. Yes, Marty.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm part of the GTAA that helps raise those fish. And yeah, this year's batch is pretty big. They're all 10 inches or bigger, that's 10 inches. So they're fair-sized speckled trout that we're going to release. So.
Excellent. That's great. Well, I look forward to being there for that. Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, do you want to go next? Or?
Sure, thank you, Your Worship. As was mentioned, we had on the 29th our planning meeting. Now, the interesting one we had the following that, the next day, we had the working session for the Economic Development Strategic Plan, which the mayor and I participated in until we had to leave. And Briar Kelly and her team is doing a phenomenal job trying to create the economic policy or economic development policy going forward. At 11 o'clock, we had the warden, as was mentioned, at the Collingwood Rail Trail. And it was nice to be the center of attention in terms of ESSA is one end of ours, Collingwood's at the other, and there's a few comments made. They thought they should have done it elsewhere, and we were happy to say, no, we got the nice plaque and everything else. So that went over really well, and the county was very good in their hosting us there. The duck race, compliments to the Kinsmen. For those of you that weren't there, it was kitty hell. It was great to see it. Not too many were in the water. It was a cold day, especially when the sun went down. But talking with the Kinsmen group, like Jerry Gortz and them, they were glad to get it through. They had some definite challenges there in getting their ducks, but it was a very well-attended event, and it's kudos to them for hosting a signature event in our community. We also had, as was mentioned on Friday, a bunch of the council went to the Bear Estates, which is the former Cranberry unit, and they hold the ministerial breakfast, and the mayor had an opportunity to do one of the prayers, which was really nice. It's an opportunity for all the EMS, the police, the fire department, all that group to get out and not only talk to the other groups, but hear, the discussion in the community and the outlook and thoughts of the people of the community. So they do it every year, and this is my fourth time being there, so it was really nice to see that and our people that were there. So I just want to jump on to Marty about his Tulips Day. There won't be any Olibola there this year, Marty, I'm sorry. Chris Vandercruz is out of town, who did them for us in the past, and unless somebody we can find, I suggested we use Timbits, but that didn't go over real well. So anyways, there'll be hamburgers the Kinsmen are doing, and we're going to have quite a few dignitaries there. Other years, I got to sit in for the mayor, but this year he's got to pull his own weight. So I'm more than happy to be there as a visitor and a spectator, but it's going to be a good event. They were cleaning all the flower gardens up and everything already, and the tulips. We had the opportunity to be in Ottawa this past weekend, and the people that were out there looking at the tulips and taking Photoshop was just phenomenal. So anyways, please everybody, 11:30 on Thursday. The school would be there singing for us and everything else. They're really putting an effort forward. The art department at school has painted some new tulips and stuff like that, so it's a community effort, so please be out there and help support the community. Thank you.
I'm disappointed to hear about the Oli Bully. Like, we need to put the word out. We need a Dutch baker right away, somebody to, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. April 29th was a public planning meeting. April 30th, I attended the trail opening. Went to the duck races, the Deputy Mayor just mentioned. This past Saturday, went up to the ramp romp in Hampton, and congratulations to all the volunteers there. They told me they had 200 people through the door to eat those delicate leeks, so it was very crowded. Glad to see that. Saturday night evening, Community Center hosted another sold-out concert, and they were playing loud and proud. I bet you could have heard them at Cashdown if you'd really listened. And last but not least, I just want to say last Wednesday and Thursday, I went to Ottawa with fellow farmers, Rachel Brooks and Terry Jackson and Janine McNabb. Rachel was asked by Senator Rob Black to speak to the Senate Committee on Ag and Forestry, so I was very pleased to go along and help support them, and she did a wonderful job, and I think, she definitely raised awareness within the Senate of what's going on here in Clearview. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being there and participating in that. Certainly Rachel and Terry are doing a great job along with all the other volunteers in the Roar group. So thank you very much, Robert, for attending that. Mr. Broderick, how are you, John?
I'm good, Your Worship. April 28th, attended the Creemore BIA board meeting. The 29th, attended the public planning meeting. The 30th, along with other members of council, attended the Barrie Collingwood Railway Trail unveiling. May the 3rd, attended Central Ontario ATV Club's Rolling in the Season ride. And coming up on May the 13th will be the Sunnydale Hall board meeting. The 14th will be of course, the Clearview Tulip Days Festival. And the 19th will be the next Clearview Library Board meeting. May 23rd will be the Creemore Echoes 25th anniversary celebration at 10 a.m. on at the Village Green.
Thank you very much, John. Many of those events I'll be attending too. I have the Creemore Echo celebration in my calendar, so I hope to be down there to that to congratulate the Echo on the years of service. I want to mention that myself and CIO Ferguson attended the Mayors and CIOs Conference, our regular meeting of the South Georgian Bay Mayors and CIOs. It was held in Wasaga Beach last Thursday, and I must say it was a great meeting. Interesting to hear what's going on in Meaford. Apparently there's some big news coming out of Meaford very shortly. We suspect it's to do with the big hydro water project that's happening at the base there. So that is pending. And the other thing that came out of the meeting, which was also very interesting, was the presentation that the CAO from Wasaga Beach gave in regards to the project down in the main end beach area 1, including the lands that the province transferred to them. So very ambitious project, I must tell you. Very ambitious. Will probably, if it gets built over the next 10 years, it'll probably attract hordes and hordes of people, which will bring more and more traffic to this area, just giving everybody a heads up. It is a very ambitious project, including multiple stages, both an indoor venue for concerts as well as multiple outdoor concerts, a big hotel complex, et cetera. So I don't know if you guys have seen it or if you have had a chance to review it, but they have quite a plan for Wasaga Beach. It's very interesting. We did point out at the meeting that, of course, we maintain that we have an agreement with the town of Wasaga Beach for sewer capacity for the town of Stayner, and that was assured to us that that continues, and so that'll continue us down the path of growth here in our community. So it was a very interesting meeting to attend. Deputy Mayor mentioned the Civic Prayer Breakfast. That was an honor to be there and to join the community business organizations from across South Georgian Bay that participate in the Civic Prayer. The former Cranberry, now Living Waters Resort, did a wonderful job hosting us, and it was a very inspirational time, as the Deputy Mayor said, mentioning the paramedics and healthcare workers, firefighters, police, and civic leaders like ourselves. It was a very nice gesture to recognize the work that we all do and they do as well. So it was a nice event to go to. Additionally, I've attended a 90th birthday recently right here in town. I attended a 70th wedding anniversary happening in Collingwood of a couple from Nottawa. And I also want to mention, this past weekend on Mother's Day, I dropped in a certificate to a young lady who has turned 95 in Ottawa, and she had no idea that I was bringing this. She had both of her sons there, one from Hamilton and one from Ottawa, and it was great that they invited me to drop by for their Mother's Day brunch that they were doing, and I just said hello and dropped the certificate, and it was a big surprise to her. And so 95th birthday, though, just a surprise, whatever, I tell you, amazing. Love seeing people like that are just super sharp. Anyway, it was a great thing to represent you and to present that. I of course attended a bunch of events, and as I said, I'll be attending a few more this week. Looking forward to Tulip Days and congratulate and work with the Horticultural Society who's put that together. And if the weather's good, I understand we may even see a fly pass from the Edenvale Airport, the classic airplanes out there. Apparently they're on schedule to fly if the weather's good. So we might even get a little fly past in downtown Stayner. So it'd be kind of fun to see the tiger moth back out for the year. Anyway, that's all I have at this time. Is there anything else people want to add? Okay, we're going to move on in our agenda, Council. Given the fact that we have members of the audience that are going to be waiting patiently, I'm going to suggest, if I may, that we're going to move item 10.2 forward, all right, instead of going to 10.1. So 10.1, we'll come back to 10.1. We're going to go to 10.2, which is our Parks and Recreation Department reports. So we're going to go straight to that right now. Council, let's see what we got here. We have report number PCR 011-2026. It's the amendment to the arena and sport field allocation policies. The recommendation is, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receives report PCR 011-2026, amendments to the arena and sport field allocation policies, dated May the 11th, 2026. And item 1, that Council approve the amended arena users groups and sport field allocation policies as presented in Appendix A and B to this report. Can I ask for a mover and seconder on the floor, please? Mr. Mr. MacArthur first, then Mr. Broderick. Thank you very much. All right, Terry, I know this is your report and your department. I'll leave you to lead it off, and I know that John Ferguson, the CAO, may also want to chip in on this as well. I'll give you the opportunity to lead first, though. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I have two components I'd like to share with Council and the members of the public this evening. I've asked the clerk if you can put up, as part of my report, some of the proposed changes. So the report that's been presented this evening for Council's review is to amend the two existing policies that we have. They're very similar in nature, one for the arena ice schedule ice schedule policy, as well as the sports field. So what you see this evening are similar language for both policies. The proposed changes to the policies that were approved by Council back in January and February are the following. So the first part is to add the word regional to the section of, I forget the third section, which is the non-municipal regional minor sports groups. So we're adding the word regional. The second proposed change is to add to change the percentage for the regional minor sports groups from 40% down to 20%. Youth registered from Clearview Township. And the third component that's being added to the policies are the following, and if I may, Your Worship, out of respect to the folks present, may I read the language? Your Worship? Yeah, okay. So this is the following amendment to the policy, which is note, although the arena and ball diamond policies list some user groups below others, this does not mean that the ice or ball field time will be taken away from any group with an existing scheduled allocation. The township is not seeking to remove or displace users who continue to enjoy their allocated sporting time. The intent of the existing policy is to communicate that no organization is grandfathered indefinitely. The township retains the right to make reasonable exceptions to this policy, regardless of the priority list, where appropriate, to maintain positive relations with citizens who use township facilities in good faith. This retained right by the township simply means that the township can add or remove time allocations from any user groups if deemed necessary. The purpose of this policy is to guide the township's future decisions with the reasonable intent not to change the existing hours. As new facilities come online and our community grows, this policy will continue to reasonably guide time allocation with the intent of not disrupting user times allocations without first consulting solutions. So these are the proposed changes to the two policies. The next component that I just want to let Council and the public know is where we are today. And what are the next steps. So as of today, we received all of the forms from the user groups with respect to their requests for ice time for next season as per this new policy. We had to extend a little bit of a grace period for Clearview minor hockey as they've went through a significant change in their executive. So they got back to us last week with their proposed ice time requirements, as well as all the other user groups. So that we received all those. And so now the next steps is to create a draft schedule for all user groups. The policy suggests that this draft schedule be circulated before June the 15th. We're hoping to release that to all the user groups the first week of June. So we want to try to get ahead of the game. So once that draft gets circulated to all the user groups, based on their requests, then the next steps from there would be to continue to tweak, if required, to have a final schedule by September the 15th. This is for arena usage only. Obviously, the sports field dates are different, but this is specifically for the ice time. So that's where we're at today. And I know the Parks and Rec Department, as well as the CAO's office, will be meeting the last week of May to look over that draft schedule. And I'm safe to say that there's maybe 3 or 4 little minor tweaks that's being proposed compared to last year's schedule. But there are some spots that are actually opened up, and maybe there's opportunity for existing adult groups to perhaps even change their existing time based on some of the freed up ice time. Once the user groups got back to us on their demand, most of them, it's pretty much what they had last year or a little bit less than what they used. A final point, Your Worship, is that, as you know, the new policy has adopted a no cancellation policy. So groups, if we cancel for bad weather or hydro outages or that kind of stuff, that's normal, but there's no more canceling ice time. So what you get is what you got. So we're seeing drastic improvements with respect to the schedule, because in the past, some user groups may have hoarded some ice time to keep as a buffer in case they needed it. Now that they're responsible for that ice time year round, there's no more cancellations. There's a little bit of extra hours that's been freed up as well. Which was the intent of that no cancellation, was to make all user groups accountable for their existing ice time. So with that, Your Worship, CAO Ferguson and myself are here to answer any questions that council may have.
All right, thank you very much for the update. Mr. Ferguson, do you have anything you want to add, or we'll go to questions from the council?
No, Terry covered it well. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Members of council, this is your opportunity to ask any questions or bring forward. Mr. Deputy Mayor is up first. I'm just looking around the room. Mr. Walker, then Mr. Beelan. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Listening to the gentleman and the lady that spoke tonight, Terry, I'd like to put your policy to the test a bit, just from a question point of view. Jan Hume was here talking about her Georgian Bay skate. If she was working with the Stainer figure or the Clearview skating clubs, she'd be considered business, private, or what? Or if she's working for her own, where would she fall under your policy?
Your Worship, through you, Your Worship, the Deputy Mayor, Skate Georgian Bay, which is the organization that Jan represents, she would fall under number 6, commercial or occasional groups.
Okay, unless she was working for minor hockey, she goes out and helps, or the skating club, she went out. So if she was working for them, she would be pushed to the top of the list. If she's working for herself, she goes to the bottom of the list, which would technically mean adult groups would be ahead of her, technically.
So through you, Your Worship, yes, kinda. If she's being contracted out by either the figure skating clubs or minor hockey, her time would be under minor hockey or figure skating's ice time. So she couldn't be able to have her own time working for another organization, if you kind of follow what I'm saying. And yes, you are correct. She, being as number 6, she would be after the adult groups. Adult groups are number 5.
Yeah, I think it's a gray area where some of these things were, well, I have another example too, because Jan, it was so vital to our community to teach our kids how to skate. And face it, the majority of the kids are Clearview residents. So anyways, just a little comment on that one. The other group I'm sort of thinking about, what would happen? I mean, we're very solid with our Stainer Siskins, where if a group like the Collingwood Blues came here, which are privately held, where would they fall in?
Again, through you, Your Worship, to Deputy Mayor, the Collingwood Blues organization, which is a for-profit organization, would fall under number 6, commercial use. And if he became a non-for-profit some way, some shape, then he would be number 7, which is the last one on the list, as a non-municipal group and occasional users.
Okay, so the other concern, will switch from ice for hockey for a minute. So if a group came up who wanted to start using our soccer fields, for example, or our baseball fields, any group like that would fall under the same scenario, non-municipal groups and stuff, and you could control that.
Yes, as long as the policy suggested that 20% of, if council approves the 20% this evening, today, as of right now, it's 40%. If those user groups have 40 or 20% usage, then they would be considered, and if it's youth programs under the age of 21, they would actually be under number 2, if they met those 2 thresholds.
Okay, so I think it's important we put something in the policy that 20 or 25%, whatever council discusses, gets reviewed every year. We saw what happened years ago when, we'll say TNT took our Clearview Ice Cats away, so that we don't all of a sudden fall to another organization that, takes our kids and our stuff out of the community. And I think that's important, that we do that and on a review basis sort of thing. The other comment I heard tonight was, sorry if I may continue.
Go right ahead.
Is to create, I'll call it a schematic, a generic one to define what is considered prime time. And it's very simple. We do them on computer boards. We do them all the time. Just to show on a color scheme what is deemed prime time. So everybody knows going forward, it's not putting names on the boards or anything like that, that we can hand out to all the user groups and say, these are the prime times. They're sacred for our kids sort of thing. So anyways, I just make that commentary. It's something that could help alleviate some of the questions and the definitions as far as what's being used. Thank you, Your Worship.
Good comments. Thank you very much. The next I have is Robert Walker. You're up, and then Mr. Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank Deputy Mayor. A couple of questions I had you've answered. The other to Terry, is there an opportunity for information only, as council is not involved in scheduling, for council to have a copy of the draft ice time highlighting the prime times of user groups, so that because of tonight's meeting, so we have an idea of any alterations or changes that might be coming forward, so that we can maybe work with groups or whatever to try and help them if things need to be done down the road. I just like a copy just to be able to see if there are any changes or not, or if everything is the same as has been.
Can I just put that question to both Terry, Sasha, and John? So Terry, your answer on that first, do you think you could share something like that?
From a department's perspective, we don't have no issues. We take direction from council. If this is what council would like, and you provide that direction, we have no problems with that.
All right. To Sasha, our clerk, distribution of that type of information is not a usual procedure of our staff, but through the clerk's office, can you accommodate that?
Thank you, Worship. I see no issue with Parks and Recreation with the permission of the CAO to provide that to council for information. So if you get phone calls from residents or user groups, you have something to reference in what they're talking about. But it would be confidential until it's finalized, yeah.
Okay, and to the CAO, you understand their request? I think it's interesting to me that Councillor Walker would bring this up, because as Mr. CAO, this is exactly one of the items that I found in my role as the mayor that doesn't always work so well, is I don't get all the information until I sit here at this table. So this is a good point. Can we have that information ahead of time?
When it's through you, Your Worship, when the information's available and all the schedules are in place, yeah, we can draft that out. I'm sure the department can make that happen. And we're not opposed to groups working together to see if they can work something out. That's really how this all started. So yeah, and we would share the ice time schedules with those groups to see if they can work it out.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walker, anything else? All right, thank you. Mr. Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've got 3 comments I'd like to make. The first one is about supporting Jan Hume. It's unfortunate that she's ranked down at 6 because she has helped out so many kids. She's taught so many kids in Clearview, and to do that, she needs her regular hours because her clients are playing hockey, so she can't have them doing power skating while they're playing games or whatever. So she needs that time that she's figured out is the best. I know she used to have Sunday morning at 6, and you'd have to take your kids there because they weren't playing hockey yet at that time in the day. So I'd like to be able to support her some way because it has been so beneficial, and she's done it for so many years. She's bought ice time that wasn't prime time, so that we had more sales there. My second comment is about primetime hockey. I was with a group that had a primetime Thursday night, or maybe, and then a Monday night. We had to change because that primetime was needed for minor hockey. We understood. We ended up going so late in the night that it was hard to get up to go to work the next day, but that's life. Then my last point is about these outside groups. We want to change it down to 20% or whatever. I don't understand what that gives them. I know when the Clearview Ice Cats first came to Creemore, we weren't amalgamated then, and I was part of minor hockey, and they were demanding whatever primetime ice there is, they split with Creemore Minor Hockey, even though Creemore Minor Hockey had about 300 Clearview kids in it, and the girls' hockey only had about 30 girls from Clearview in it. So, but they wanted the same amount of ice time, which to me wasn't fair. So, I mean, it was a lot of bickering back and forth then, and we finally came out with, we'll base it on the percentage of how many girls are, or Clearview people are on that special team. Girls could play Creemore Minor Hockey, and they could also play girls' hockey, whereas boys could only play Creemore Minor. I don't want to get into that big discussion, but, and I know Creemore Minor Hockey isn't always the best hockey for a girl, so we understood it, but I don't think if they've only got 20% of Clearview residents, that they should get the same amount of ice time as a Clearview group. That's my comment there.
All right, so we're going to go to Terry to help answer a couple of those points. That first point, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I could only really answer the first comment. I'll ask CAO first and perhaps to provide an answer for comments 2 and 3. But regarding the Jan Hume comment, Your Worship, through you to Councillor Beelan, again, I just want to remind Council and everyone in the public, it is not our department's intent to make any changes. Just because Jan is sitting on number 6, that does not mean that we're going in there next season and wiping her out and giving her ice time to a higher group. That is not correct. Whoever is saying that is not saying the truth. We're not trying to change it. This policy here in this list is if Council is ever in a position that they had to make drastic change or had to make a very important change. Before this policy, we had nothing. It was a grandfathered rule, and it was really gray. This provides a bit of a black and white to help Council make a decision in a really conspicuous time. So again, let me reiterate for Jan, we value Jan as anybody else. We've worked well with her over the years. We do not want to disrupt her business by any stretch. But if Council's backs are against the wall and you absolutely had to make a decision one way or the other because we have a real peculiar situation going on, you would be able to land back on this policy. But it's not the intent to use this policy to jeopardize their ice time for next season. Thank you.
All right, I think that's a fair comment. I just want to add to that, Terry, and that is that Council is not making decisions about who's getting any ice time or any field time. Council doesn't make any of those decisions. You know, it's just not our role. So that does fall to your department through the 2 employees that report to you, and then the CAO, who's the chief administrator for the whole operation of this township. So that is not something that Council does. But I appreciate what you're suggesting in the fact that we created the policy because, you know, jackpots pop up, and occasionally there's always going to be you know, an anomaly in the mix here that causes us a grief. To have a policy out there that helps us guide in making a decision, as in you guys as staff to make that decision, I think that's a good thing to do. And I think you would want to know what the feeling of this council is when it comes to how we set priorities. So I think that you've handled it well. John, is there anything about the other 2 items, or is there anything more you want to add on that? And we'll go to the next question.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Beelan asked about Jan Hugh as well as it relates to her time. She actually negotiated a trade-off with the Siskins, I believe, for time on a Saturday, and we did give an economic contribution. So this is something that they worked out. She called when she was reading the policy worried. We told her, look, we have no intent of changing her time, so she was fine with that. As it relates to the 20% rule, so let's use Collingwood Girls as an example. Collingwood Girls, actually they started in Creemore is my understanding. They actually were a Clearview girls minor hockey league. And I don't know how they ended up in Collingwood, but at the end of the day, they have 393 girls playing hockey, and they have 121, which is about 25%. So we said if they maintain at least 20%, they would keep that priority as a part of the priority list. As it relates to groups that made changes, the groups that made changes and worked together, we made an economic contribution to the organization. And the same as the gentlemen that we're playing on Thursday evening, if they form a club, we would make a contribution to them as well. And that probably would cover their ice time for the season, if that's something that they're interested in doing. At the end of the day, those initial consultation meetings, unfortunately, they didn't participate in. They were invited, and I do believe they showed up for the very start of it, but they didn't stay. And we never had a chance to really unpack what those needs could be. And the local guys that play in that, this is of no disrespect whatsoever. We know that you contribute to our community, you're valuable citizens, you work, you have businesses. That's important to the community. This was simply over a decision over youth. But if you're willing to work on a club, if you want to do that, we'll even help you with it, and then we can give you an economic contribution. That's something to consider.
All right, thank you, John. Terry, thank you for that too. Thank you, Marty. Is there anything further? Marty?
Do we know how many kids are in Clearview Minor Hockey?
Clearview Minor Hockey. What's the registration? Come right up. You're wearing a Clearview Minor Hockey jacket, so I'm good with that. Go right ahead. You got a green light there?
Yep.
Thank you.
My name's Josh Lowe. I'm the current vice president of Clearview Minor Hockey. Last season, we had 234 total, and 27 of those were girls.
27.
Yeah.
Very good. Good, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Marty. Paul, you're up next.
Well, I've already spoken, but John, just clarification on yours. The numbers that you get, and it's not called Collingwood Minor Girls anymore, it's called South Georgian Bay, the name is now. Who supplies those numbers? Like when I see Josh walk up here, I know exactly those numbers are coming from. Do we use those numbers for all the communities? So everybody gets an accurate number for who's in their community playing? Or where does that number come from? Collingwood?
Yeah, so the actual league, the Collingwood Girls Hockey, provided those numbers for last year registrations. There were 121.
Okay, so and that's the numbers that all the communities go by. We have a standard. What I'm getting at is there's no way anybody can fudge numbers.
Excuse me, Your Worship. No, the idea is to make sure that they have that registration.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, Robert, you're up next. Robert McCarthy.
I just want to say that I think this is...
If I may, just a second, sir.
Sorry.
Did you have something you want to add? Sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
So a question that came up through our membership. So players living in Ottawa are a Clearview Township resident.
Yep.
But historically are Collingwood Minor Hockey.
Right.
So if they came to Clearview, they would be considered an NRP, like an out-of-area player for us.
They would be.
Yes.
But didn't that change? Didn't the Hockey Ontario wipe that all out?
There's no boundaries, but we still have, our constitution still states how many we can accept for a competitive team.
I would encourage you to change that only because we're Clearview Township now. So if you live in Brentwood or if you live in Ottawa, you're in Clearview. I mean.
Well, it's a slippery slope because if we change it, we could have an entire team come from anywhere.
Well, again, as I was saying earlier about taxes are collected across the entire township.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Okay.
It's based on the old, I don't know what they call. Yeah, the old catchments where Stainer Minor Hockey, Creamer Minor Hockey, Collingwood Minor Hockey were. That was when you had said about Ottawa volunteers running Collingwood, that was
yeah.
one. So.
Yeah. Do you know, on the point about Ottawa, because I'm from Ottawa, if you ever go into the Collingwood Town Hall and you just step inside their foyer, to the left, there's a big wall there, and it's the Order of Collingwood, and it's given out to volunteers. And I counted it up one time. There were some 40 people on there are from Clearview Township. Just saying. Go ahead, Paul.
Josh, I just want to clarify. So when I was president of minor hockey, was the 8-kilometer rule, and Gord, I think we were on council together at that time. Sorry? Right. So they had a right of choice. Anybody could play a local league wherever they wanted. But when you wanted to play rep, you had to by either where you lived or by the mileage rule. Has that not changed with your right of choice being opened up? You can play wherever you want.
I don't want to state anything because I'd have to look at the actual OMHA rules before I
Yeah, I think it's,
solidify anything, but
yeah, I think they've sort of wiped out a lot of what you're talking about in the past, because if kids want to play from Clearview, they're going to play from Clearview sort of thing, so, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Sorry, Mr. MacArthur, for interrupting you there. How about we give you an opportunity to start again? Okay.
No, through all this, I just want to say that in one respect, this is a great problem to have. Because not that many years ago, we were kind of thinking how we're going to keep these arenas open even, for lack of usage. So growing pains, like in any business or here, I think are a great thing. As Terry stated, a policy is a policy. It's something to go by. We have zoning policies. We have policies for everything, but policies can be changed through proper steps and come in, and through zoning meetings and whatnot, we're acceptable to change. So with that, like, we're in the middle of a growth spurt here in Clearview for sure. And as I was talking to Jan Hume today too, as most of us were, I think. And I think I've got to support her and Terry, your suggestions too, because she's the most flexible person in this whole organization, because she can work pretty much with any hours. She doesn't have to commit to leagues or league games or, all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure we can keep her going no matter what. And as she stated, as both Creemore kids, when we opened that Creemore Arena some 40, 45 years ago, it was built, fundraised, paid for the day it opened. And so maybe, Gord, I know you've got other fundraiser things going in the community, so maybe it's time for the buzz to start. As we all know, we need more facilities. So we can maybe start that conversation. And then just flipping over to the baseball side, Terry or John, in the future development plans and whatnot, like baseball diamonds obviously aren't near the scope of an arena. Have we got any new scope or new lands being designated as rec that could be baseball diamonds in the near future?
Excellent question. Thank you. Terry, have you and your counterpart, Derek, sitting right next to you, talked about recreation lands?
Thank you, Your Worship. I can only provide a very limited answer to that because I only know a limited amount of information. The only development that I'm aware of is the potential development that's north of the Stainer Arena. There was some recreational lands that was identified at one point in time to perhaps house some more sport fields, baseball fields, soccer fields. But again, I don't want to talk out of turn. I think there's been some change in ownerships over the years, so I don't know where that's at. Perhaps Derek here can provide an update, but that's the only lands that I'm aware of that might be available for recreational purpose that the community would own.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just what about any existing lands we have?
Again, through you, Your Worship, to Councilor MacArthur, not to my knowledge. Yeah, I mean, there's a block of land behind the Creemore Arena that's soccer fields. It could be repurposed, perhaps. I highly recommend that we don't, but that's about the, yeah, we don't. The township does not own an abundance of land for future recreational.
Yeah, the one I was thinking of, north of the new Lowell Diamonds, that field. Do we even own that, the other side of the tree line, or is that?
North of the tree line. I think, isn't that part of Diamond 3? Isn't there already a baseball diamond there?
I think you're in the industrial lands there. Is that what you mean, through the ravine?
Yeah, north of the pavilion. Like, is there already a diamond there?
Behind, and there's a soccer field there
Okay.
too, yeah, so it's pretty well used. out
Usually
there.
snow on the ground when I'm there. So.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you very much, Councillor. Are there other members with any questions in regards to this? Okay. Council, you've heard the discussion so far. We've had a pretty good discussion on this. Are there anything from the report that is specific to you that we need to amend? So I'm open for any amendments at this time. Paul has something.
I don't know that we need to amend, but I'd like some of the direction you've heard from councillors here to encourage Terry or the group to add to it. In other words, if we have, to identify future growth plans or to identify, different opportunities or whatever. Terry, I think that would be the only thing that would come from it. The 20 point is a bit of a stickling point in this I don't know what's reasonable, and I don't know what we can, John, if it's reasonable today, should we review this policy again in a year from now and see how the numbers play out? I don't know.
Okay, let's go to John first on the development ideas as well as the policy for 20%.
Okay, so on development, we are looking at future growth, expansion of our settlement areas, and we may be able to identify potential lands through that process. And as it relates to the 20% rule, just getting back to Councillor Beelan's discussion, that outside group has 121 girls that live in our community, and they get 7 hours. The minor hockey group has 45.5 hours, and just to show you the difference and how they're really not dominating the hours in Clearview, for example, the girls' hockey. But overall, I think any policy over time should be looked at because things change in your community and you have to make adjustments. So, this could be the policy this year, might be the policy for the next couple of years, but if it starts to create a significant amount of grief, then we'll look at it again.
Paul, and then Phyllis.
I think then, John, that's a reasonable answer because I use the example of we used the pollinator gardens, we reviewed it after 1 year. I'd like to make the amendment that we review this policy after 1 year again. Okay? Because the intent and the actual, we have to see how that plays out. Thank you.
Council, can I consider that a friendly amendment? Friendly amendment? Thank you. We'll consider that a friendly amendment, just add it as an item. Okay, thank you. Phyllis, you had something?
Just that Sasha and I have been discussing that since before the deputy mayor brought
Oh,
it
well,
up.
there
It's
you
a
go.
living document, and we will review it in a year's time on an annual basis. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Thank you. Mr. Beelan, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm wondering if we should add something that, like if an outside group comes in and they have 25% versus another outside group that has 50% Clearview residents, did we give priority to the one with 50 versus 25? Do we need to add that, or is that implied in this?
I would suggest that might be the problem that will have to be dealt with in the current policy, if we pass this policy. And that's where the review might help.
Okay.
But you're right. Terry, what would be your reaction to something like that? I mean, first of all, I'd say it would be back to Councillor MacArthur's comment that we should all be excited about the fact that there's a lot of people who want to use these facilities, first of all. So go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Very hard to answer again. I think it could be on a case-by-case basis. It's hard to predict all what could happen. I would think that preference should be provided to the existing user. So if the existing user has 20% and there's a new user group that shows up out of wherever that has 50, I personally would believe that priority should be given to the one that's already renting, if ICE is even available. For that other group, I think, I don't think they would naturally come in and just start bumping other adult groups or other groups just because they're new in their youth and they're 50. Again, this policy is not designed for that. It's not for them to come in and take over ICE time. That's not the concept. So again, it's on a case-by-case basis, Your Worship, through Councillor Beelan, and you probably would have to cross that bridge when you get there. And since I have the mic, Your Worship, if I can just also add for the council, just to remind council that as part of the development charge study, there are funds designated to start a feasibility study for a new sports complex. As council may be aware, it usually takes about 10 years when you start the feasibility process to getting the facility opened up, but you got to start at some point in time. So there is a plan to create a feasibility plan to see what the community needs, where the location would be. So it is on the books for something to be done in the near future.
Sure. It's in our recreation master plan. So that's the other part that makes it important to acknowledge and to support, right?
Yeah, but the funds are in there.
The funds are not, but the plan is there.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. All right. Is there anything else? Everybody else is good? I think we've made your friendly amendment. I think we've answered some good questions. All right. Thank you, staff, for your work on this. Council, you've now got a report in front of you with a minor amendment. I don't think I need to read it again, so I'll ask the council if you're prepared to make the motion. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you very much, council. All right, we're going to move to their other recreation report since it's on here, and then we'll move back to the Public Works folks. Creemore Arena Ice Resurfacer. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PCR 012 2026, the Creemore Arena Ice Resurfacer RFQ results dated May 11, 2026. Item 1, the council approve the quotation submitted by Zamboni Company Limited in the amount of $170,925 plus HST for the Zamboni 450 lithium-ion battery-operated ice resurfacer for the Creemore Arena. And item 2, that any overages above the budgeted amount for the ice resurfacer be funded through the Arena Equipment Replacement Reserve. And item 3, that the former 2011 Stainer spare unit be sold off as excess equipment and the existing Creemore Olympia 2026 be stored as a spare unit for the Clearview Parks and Recreation Department. Okay, can I have that moved by Mr. MacArthur? Thank you. And I'm going to have it seconded by Mr. Beelan. Is that okay? Thank you. Terry, a great report. Glad to see we're getting into another battery-operated system. I particularly find it interesting because having the battery-operated systems in a building that's an enclosed building where you have the public in there and having a motorized device that produces carbon monoxide inside has always sort of been a question mark to me. That why, we even do that. So I'm glad to see that we're going to make the step to move away from the the propane powered, which is still a clean burning device. It's just that we're not going to use that on a regular basis by any further if we move this forward. So go ahead, Terry, if you have anything you want to add.
No, thank you, Your Worship. You covered it well. It's a bit of a change in the brand that Clearview's been used to. I think we've had an Olympia ice resurfacer for probably both arenas for the last 25 years. So this is definitely a change in focus. We feel confident that the Zamboni brand will meet our needs for the department. They've come in a little bit cheaper than the Olympia this time. I just want to remind council, if you remember I'll use the word fiasco that we kind of went through from a timing perspective. Obviously, we purchased the Stainer unit during COVID, and we were guaranteed a 10-month delivery, and we ended up receiving a 24-month delivery. We've been reassured that the Zamboni unit will arrive within one fiscal year, so within 12 months. We've been assured by both brands that this time around that we would not get screwed, for lack of a better word, and that this unit would arrive on time. And again, we feel confident that the brand will meet our needs. Also, just to maybe let council know, a very technical component, the Zamboni brand is 80 inches wide. The Olympia brand is actually 84 inches wide. So the Zamboni is actually a little bit, it's not as wide, and it's very conducive to the Creemore rink. If you know how the Creemore rink goes, where the Zamboni, I guess I could say that now, the Zamboni would go through that corner. It's a bit of a tight corner, so the less wider the unit, the better it is for our users. It provides a bit more security for them. So we're quite confident in this unit, and this is the unit that we're recommending for council to purchase.
All right. Of course, it comes with all the brushes and all those tools that are necessary. Excellent.
Yes, Your Worship, and just to add to that, we're actually adding a auto water leveling system.
Oh, the leveling system?
Yeah,
okay.
So how it works is when an older unit, the water just flows as it goes. The automatic water, it goes by the speed of the unit, so when you start slowing down in corners, the system will actually slow down the amount of water that's being put on the ice. So you might see in rinks where the gush of water goes into the corner and the corners don't freeze, and so with this automatic watering system, it's going to adjust the amount of water, and if you go a little quicker, it'll reduce it. So it's going to help provide a better quality ice.
Good, excellent. All right, council, questions? Okay. Paul, you get to go first. How about that?
Terry, thank you. I saw we're selling the 2011 unit, which in all likelihood won't bring us bugger all anyways. I was just, will you, would our communities, i.e. New Lowell or Singhampton, have use for a community Zamboni? I'm just, Singhampton, yeah. I know, but I'm not sure what shape they're in, so I'm just saying, have we reached out to these communities that we could help support the local groups?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Deputy Mayor. No, we have not reached out to any other groups. You're right, Singhampton do have their own private ice resurfacer. It's an older unit. They may be interested in this unit. This one is probably, the one in Creemore right now is probably twice the size of the one that they have now. They have a bit of a mini unit there up there in Singhampton, so this would be bigger. They may be interested. Unfortunately, my friend here, Mr. Patton's from New Lowell, but the outdoor rink there is too small for an ice resurfacer. It won't, an ice resurfacer cannot be used on that rink. It's just too small. You won't be able to do the corners. Not that unit. So unfortunately, the outdoor rink in New Lowell would not be able to use a machine like that, but Singhampton definitely would, and we're not aware of any other organizations that would want it.
I think we should just reach out before we look at it, because Singhampton, we try and help them. I know it's a community group, a bunch of gentlemen that keep that thing working, and it's nice to reach out if they want a better one, that's all, and we could sell theirs for them. Thank you.
Perhaps your neighbor, Mr. MacArthur, can reach out to some of the constituents up there and have a conversation. Sound good?
Yeah, and Terry, I just wondered, what did, when we bought the electric we bought for Stayner there 5 years ago then, what did it cost?
Oh, I'm going to go based off memory through you, Your Worship, to Councillor MacArthur. I think it was 135, 140.
Yeah,
I think it was in that area. So it has went up, about 30,000 in the last 5 years.
Councillor Deneen, please.
Just a comment for Terry. The Zamboni dealers and at the conferences will be very glad to know that we've got a Zamboni, because every time at conference, they've always said, but you have an Olympia. Every time.
Yes, go right ahead, Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Do we have a sort of an interim report on how that Zamboni's work, or the Olympia's working in Stayner? Like, is it any problems? I know right off the bat we had a problem, but how's it working out anyway? Is it meeting expectation? Or?
Yes, thank you. Through Your Worship, again, to Councillor Beelan. We don't have any, like concrete data to share, but yes, the first 6 months we had some issues. There was a major motherboard that had blew right prior to a Stayner Siskins playoff game. So yeah, that happened and it got replaced, and knock on wood, we have not had any issues since then. So we had some minor little things here and there, but I would say in the last 2 years, it's been a very good unit. And I'll also add, Your Worship, that even the staff were a little reluctant at the beginning to use a electric ice resurfacer, and I think over the last 2 years, if you would ask them as the operators, they now prefer, I think, an electric versus once you get used to having to charge it, and you start doing that routine, you get comfortable. And also our new staff that we get on board, they tend to like the electric as well. So it's starting to have an impact in our arena culture.
Thank you. That's the information I was looking for.
All right, thank you very much. Other members? Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll just add one last comment to support Councillor Deneen in the choice of the Zamboni unit. It's a credit to the Zamboni company that they have basically cornered the naming of these ice resurfacers right across the country. And across hockey in general. Everybody calls it the Zamboni, whether it's a Zamboni or not. It's everybody calls it the Zamboni. So, good for them in creating the darn thing in the first place. So, I mean, it's just one of those names, I guess, that's stuck with all of us. So, Marty just a minute ago just referred to it as the Zamboni when he was asking a question about the Olympia. So I get it. It's pretty interesting how that happens. All right, well, if there's nothing further, it's a good report and exciting news. And again, now we will enter into an agreement to purchase this thing, and then we wait for 12 months to get it, Terry. Right, okay. Good luck.
Not as bad as a fire truck.
Not as bad as a fire truck. That's right. And he says this tonight because the chief's not here, right? Exactly, there you go. All right, thank you very much. Council, you've got a motion in front of you. I don't believe there's any amendments, so I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Council, we're going to move back to our Public Works Department items because we have several on here to discuss. So we'll start right at Public Works PW006 2026. This is the Stainer-Zancor Subdivision Stormwater Management Pond Cleanout. Oh boy. The recommendation is be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW006 2026 Stainer-Zancor Subdivision Stormwater Management Pond Cleanout dated May 11, 2026. Council award the tender for the Stainer-Zancor Subdivision Stormwater Management Pond Cleanout to Vask Limited in the amount of $211,073.12, excluding HST. And that's the recommendation. Can I look for a mover and seconder, please? Mr. Broderick, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Deneen, thank you very much. Dan, anything you want to add to this other than the comments we've already heard today?
Thank you, Worship. I think it's a very thorough report. I do have the author, Mr. Haw, and Ms. Patty Kennedy, available for any questions if you have any.
All right, thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions to Mr. Haw or Mr. Perot? Yes, go ahead, Paul.
Thank you, Worship. It's not a question, it's just a comment. I followed your lines why we did not take the 1 and 2, the first and second bids, and I think it's very important for everybody to understand that in terms of insurance and references and experience. So anyways, I make it very clear there's reasons for these selections sometimes. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you. Members of council, anything further? All right. I just have a quick question that the community may ask. Access to the site, will we put up some signage to indicate the site will be not accessible to the public? There is a pretty significant dog walking crowd up there, just so you know. So I think you better get those signs up sooner than later to advise them that this work will be starting. And so we will be doing that, Dan?
Through your worship, yes, that's correct. We'll be doing a construction newsletter like we normally do for any of our projects. And yes, the area will have to be cordoned off so to not allow any access for the public during the construction and rebuild of that area.
Okay, excellent. And the last point I'd like to just ask and request, the restoration of the site after the work is done, I hope that's included in the contract because it is well maintained as far as the lawn cutting that goes on in there and the maintenance of the, of the walkways and so on. Their intent obviously is to be as gentle as possible, even though they're going to be using some pretty serious heavy equipment to do this work. I hope that's the direction.
It is, your worship. Any areas to be put back same or better? So there will be plantings with the pond itself. So there's some aquatic plantings that have to be replanted after the work is complete. So any disturbed areas will be resodded, reseeded, trees planted, those types of things.
Okay. All right, just anticipating those type of phone calls, which are yet to come. Thank you very much, staff. Council, if there's nothing further, I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you. Encroachment bylaw amendments. This is the Boulevard Garden encroachments. Interested in this one. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW008, the encroachment bylaw agreements for Boulevard Garden encroachments. Item 1, that Council supports the proposed amendments to the encroachment bylaw 2540 as it relates to Boulevard Garden encroachments, outlined in Appendix A to this report. Item 2, the Council directs staff to present a bylaw to the May 25th, 2026 meeting to amend encroachment bylaw 25-40 to reflect the supported changes. And item 3, the Council directs staff to amend the fees and charges bylaw to add a one-time fee of $50 for a Boulevard Garden permit. Whew. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Mr. Broderick. Thank you very much. Who wants to speak to that? Dan, you got that one? Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you, Worship. As the report states, really two changes to the bylaw, I guess maybe 3, but we received 2 applications last year for boulevard plantings and issued 1 permit. We felt that the requirement for a yearly permit and a $50 per year application fee was a bit excessive after we've looked at it and looked at it a year later. So we thought just a one-time permit application fee, and that would be monitored on a regular basis. So the same requirements that if it's not being maintained properly, if there are uses that the municipality needs to, any type of utilities that would be dug up at their cost would not be replanted. Those types of things all remain the same. It's just a one-time application and one-time fee.
Okay. Can I ask then, the liability insurance for use of public lands and extending their property insurance, I presume, to those lands, that's included in this agreement?
That would be part of the requirement.
It's the original bylaw.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're not amending any of that.
No.
Okay.
The only other slight amendment, I guess, is just removing the 1-year trial. I think was in
Gotcha.
that
Yeah, the
bylaw.
1-year trial.
That's going to be removed.
All right, thank you. Members of council, do you have any questions to this? Comfortable? Okay. Thank you very much, Dan. Nothing further. Council, you've got a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. PW 009, 2026, the rubber-tired backhoe purchase. I object to the title of this because I've never seen a backhoe that's not rubber-tired. Is there such a thing? Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW 009, 2026, the rubber-tired backhoe purchase, dated May 11, 2026. Item 1, the Council approve the purchase of a 2026 Caterpillar 420XE backhoe from Caterpillar Cat in the amount $238,619.51 plus HST. Who wants to move that? Mr. Broderick, is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, thank you. Todd, this is your report. First, why is it called a rubber-tired backhoe purchase?
Through your worship, thank you. That's something you'd have to ask the industry experts, I guess, but that's what they refer to it as on their product sheets and their quotes. It's got rubber tires. I have seen backhoes on the back of track machines, dozers and such.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's the difference. I don't know, but
I've never seen one, but anyway, fair enough. Anything you want to add to your report, Dan?
No, I think I'm here for questions as it states in the report. We are going with a higher cost purchase, but I'm recommending that we go with that due to some reliability, cost of maintenance. We've had experience with JCB over the years. We went through 3 service companies over the last 8 years. So again, it just was not a good experience. In our industry, what we do right now, we need reliability for a machinery. We don't have spares sitting on hand, ready to go. This particular backhoe is used in the wintertime for our downtown Stainer parking lots. If we don't have it, then we're either renting, we're trying to shuttle other pieces of equipment around and takes away from other uses that it's needed for. So that's kind of the key for us. So,
all right,
I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Todd. Members of council, any questions? Go ahead.
Todd, are we going to get a faster delivery on this one than fire trucks and our wheeled excavator that was going to come soon?
Well, we'll see. It might beat the wheeled excavator. I don't know. But,
I'm still looking for it for the parades. Just remember, the Santa Claus parade this year is coming up.
June 22nd, I've been told it's going to be at the Aurelia branch. So
maybe for the Canada Day parade, then we need a
Yeah,
wheeled
there you go,
excavator.
Instead of
With a great big Clearview flag on it.
Instead of the week, they'll have the brush your head on it ready for the deputy mayor to operate.
Thank you.
Council, any questions? Nothing? All right. Thank you, Todd. Council, I'll call the motion then. All those in favor? Carries unanimous. Thank you very much, Council. Motor grader purchase this time. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW 010 2026, the motor grader purchase, dated May 11, 2026. Item 1, to Council approve the purchase of a 2026 John Deere 772 motor grader from John Deere in the amount of $672,618.49 plus HST. Mover and seconder. Deneen and Beelan, thank you very much. All right, Todd. John Deere, which John Deere is selling this to us?
Sorry, a Brandt tractor?
Which John Deere is selling this to us? I mean, there's lots of John Deere across Ontario.
Yeah, so Brandt tractor will be out of
Brandt?
Oro. Yeah, it's different
Oro.
than the Huron tractor and the Premiers. Yeah, yeah, it's the heavy construction.
Okay, just checking, because it wasn't outlined in there. I just want to make sure for the public's case who didn't read the report. Anything you want to add?
Something similar to the backhoe. I did want to add something that I did not put in the report, and I'm sorry about that, but the John Deere quote did add a roller, which is a $26,000 addition to what CAT didn't have, so it does bring those numbers closer together, and I apologize for not noting that in the report. It has been beneficial. We have it on a John Deere grader now. It's good to have for following the grader around, so now we'll have two in our fleet. Both will be on the John Deeres. The same thing, reliability. CAT has been good, but when the numbers are that close, we've had one CAT, and we've noticed some things about it that operators feel the John Deere is safe for them to operate, and just for them right now, a better machine. So that's why we're recommending it.
All right, thank you very much. Questions to Todd from anybody? Yes, go ahead.
Todd, and I think you made a great decision, especially for commonality in parts and whatnot. And both Brent and Cat are nice and close Tormounts. They're both up in Aurelia on Highway 11. I'm surprised that we didn't get more comment or more bids. It said you asked in this report for 3, and we only got 2. Is there a lot of people not interested? Or are we just seeing John Deere and Cat going head to head? Because we know there's some strong other brands as well. What's your thought?
Yeah, through your worship, Deputy Mayor. For the grader, there's not quite as many. The backhoe, there is more, but once again, through the canoe procurement process, not everybody's involved in that either. Some don't get involved. They don't want to. Similar to, you'll see the sidewalk machine, there's other vendors that don't participate in it for their own reasons, and I'm not 100% sure why on that.
I was going to say that'd be a question because I know the McLean machine, noticed it was absent for the next bid. So anyways, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Council, nothing further? All right, Council, we've got a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, thank you, Todd, for these reports. And we have one more for the sidewalk tractor purchase. Be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PW 011-2026 sidewalk utility tractor purchase dated May 11, 2026. Item 1, the Council approve the purchase of a trackless MT7 utility tractor from Joe Johnson Equipment in the amount of $210,950 plus HST. All right, mover and seconder, please. Mr. Walker, thank you. Mr. MacArthur this time, thank you. And anything you want to say about your sidewalk tractor purchase?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. This one here is a little different. This one is coming out of the Development Charges Reserve. In the Development Charges study, it's noted that a sidewalk tractor will be needed at some point between, I think it was 2024 and 2034, or 2033, sorry. We are at a point where we have contracted Stainer sidewalks, some of them out for a number of years now, and as we grow, as we take on subdivisions, assume them, I think it's better for our taxpayers if we can service them. So we do it now with the winter maintenance in all those subdivisions. We have agreements with the developers. It's still, we haven't assumed yet. So we're going to do something similar with sidewalks. Once again, we have 3 to 4 hours that we are already doing that of assumed sidewalks that were contracted. So this will just bring it more in-house, which I think will be financially more responsible for us as well in the long run. So that's where this one's coming from.
Thank you. Councilor Deneen has a question?
Not a question, but just when you have Joe Johnson Equipment, and I've noticed this different times, is it possible to just put where the equipment, like the place, the address of it, like in New Lowell or in, say, Alliston, or just, would that be possible just to include that where the place is located that they're coming from?
Yeah, through your worship, Councilor. So just so I understand correctly, where the business is out of?
Yes, sorry, yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem, I can do that in the future. Joe Johnson, this branch is out of Barrie, just for your knowledge, but yeah, you can do that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Similar to my question about John Deere. Okay, like,
Yeah, very good.
how many John Deere dealerships are there? Like, there's a few.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Paul has a question?
Yeah, I think it's like Joe Johnson, I've dealt with them for years, they've been a good business. The one thing I was going to suggest, if I'm not mistaken, the trackless is made in Vineland, right? So it's a Canadian product versus the holder, Sweden, Denmark, it's European anyways. And like I was saying on the comments, McLean, I was really surprised we didn't see it, which is made in Collingwood or Owen Sound or wherever it's made. So they're a Canadian company, which is important in this economy that we try and do the procurement from wherever we can as Canadians. So thank you.
Excellent point. Thank you. Mr. McCarthy?
Yeah, I just wonder, are we privy to the information, roughly how much we're paying the contractor in the last 3 or 4 winters, or what's cost savings to offset the purchase?
Yeah, through your worship, Councilor McCarthy, I'm sorry, I don't have that number handy with me, but I can definitely pull it up and share that with council if they like. I'm sure I'm allowed to do that.
All right, thank you for the question. Seems reasonable. There we go. Anybody else with any questions? Any other members? All right, seeing none, I'm prepared to call the motion on this. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to flip back to our agenda, get over to item 10.3, the Finance Department now. So let's take a look here at item 10.3, FIN 005. This is the 2026 budget package and tax rates. Recommendation, be it resolved, excuse me, that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report FIN 005 2026, the 2026 budget package and tax rates dated May the 11th, 2026. And item 1, that Council of that bylaw 2627 to approve the passing of the 2026 tax rate at the blended increase of 2.09% be presented at the May 11, 2026 meeting for approval. Take a mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor, please, and Mr. Broderick, thank you very much. And I will look to the treasurer. Nice to have you here with us, Kelly. Glad to see that you're bringing it in at 2.09, which I believe is pretty well where we talked about, seems like months ago.
Thank you, Worship. Yes, it was quite a few months ago. Yeah, we've got the final budget package prepared and the tax rate bylaw set to go. And as soon as council approves it, we'll get working on those tax bills.
All right, any questions from council members to the treasurer? No? Thank you very much, Kelly. Council, here is the motion in front of us. I am prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, Your Worship. Your Worship, to the clerk in regards to 10.4.1, I declared a conflict with this application, so I will recuse myself again from approving this one, so I'll sit back. Thank you.
Right, I remember that. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Paul, for bringing that forward. All right, members of council, let's move on then. Report PB 017, the zoning bylaw amendment for Arden at 5455 Concession 9 Sunnydale. The recommendation is, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 017 2026 zoning bylaw amendment application for Arden dated May 11, 2026, in item 1, that zoning bylaw generally consistent with the draft amendment found in Appendix F for the lands municipally known as 5455 Concession 9 Sunnydale, Clearview, be presented to council for consideration and approval at the May 25th, 2026 meeting. All right, mover and seconder, please. Beelan, thank you, and Walker, thank you. Thank you. Let's hear from our Director of Planning. Derek, is there anything you want to add to this report?
Thank you, Your Worship. Nothing really further to add other than what's detailed in the report. This is just as a result of a condition of a consent application for a resident surplus to a farming operation. And this zoning bylaw amendment is meant to rezone the retained lands to prohibit any future residential development. So I'm here to answer any questions that council may have.
Excellent, thank you. Members of council, do you have any questions to this report? No? Okay, nope, seems straightforward. Thank you, members. Thank you, Derek. Council, there's a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. We can welcome the Deputy Mayor back, I believe. Item 10.5, the Clerk's Department of Bylaw Department, municipally significant event. Okay, we've be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 008 2026. Municipally significant event policy dated May 11, 2026. Council supports the updated municipally significant event policy as presented in Appendix A to this report. And item 2, that a bylaw with the updated policy be presented to Council for approval on the May 11th Council meeting, 2026 Council meeting. All right, moved by Mr. Deputy Mayor and Mr. MacArthur. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And Madam Clerk, do you have any presentation on this or anything you want to add in regards to this?
Thank you, Worship. Actually, this report was written by our Deputy Clerk, so if there are any questions, Council can pose them to her.
All right, Deputy Clerk is standing by, so is the Clerk. Members of Council, is there any questions you have in regards to this? Seeing none. All right, you've got off lucky. Members of Council, we have a report in front of us. I've got a mover and seconder, and I am prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Short-term rental accommodation. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 013 2026, the short-term rental accommodation licensing bylaw draft version dated May 11, 2026 for information. All right, again, this is just a draft bringing this forward. Members of Council, I need a mover and seconder, please. Can I take Mr. Broderick? Thank you. And I'll take Mr. Beelan. Thank you very much. All right, what would you like to add to this, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. First of all, I want to apologize to Council and the public. This was meant to come late fall of last year. Time got away from me, and so now it's being presented at this point in time. The intent is to have a presentation and a working session with Council that the public will be able to participate as well in. They can provide written comments and participate in person. I still have to schedule that with the Mayor through Council. We are looking at mid-June. To move forward with that. We do have the opportunity to send out social media blasts, and Airbnb did reach out to us stating that if we are looking to do any public engagement with our proposed bylaw, they can send it out to their hosts. They can't provide that information to us, but they can send it out to their hosts. So, and if we need to schedule another follow-up working session, if something needs to be specified further, we can do so after that public engagement session. But I wanted to give the public and Council a first crack at the bylaw, have it over the next few weeks, and that way when we come to the working session, everyone can have an informed discussion regarding different points of the bylaw.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And yes, I look forward to those public engagement sessions where we can hear from the public. And perhaps we'll get some of the actual operators of these short-term accommodation facilities to pop in and show us their concerns. Questions? Do you have something, Paul? Go ahead.
Just a comment, Your Worship, and yourself and myself were at, as were several others, at the EDC meeting there last week, and I strongly encourage, there was a lot of discussions about STRs and please keep our, our Briar engaged with this because it's something that's tagging along. Accommodation has been identified as one of the main shortfalls within our community. So I think that's important. We work with them as well. So thank you.
Well done and well said. Yes, that it did come out of that session. The table that I was sitting at, they certainly talked about that. So thank you very much. Any other members of Council with any questions or comments? All right. Seeing none. I look forward to getting this out there, and I would encourage the public to participate in this as well. We want to hear from people about short-term accommodations in our community. Council, you've got a motion in front of you. There's no amendments, so I'll look for your participation. The motion is ready to be called. All those in favor? And that carries unanimous. Thank you. Okay, moving to the administration. We do have a report in regards to Gowan Park Bleachers lease and trust agreement. So the recommendation says, be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report CAO 008 2026, the Gowan Park Bleachers lease and trust agreements dated May 11, 2026. Item 1, the Council approve entering into a lease and trust agreements with Mountain Ridge Custom Homes, Inc. for the construction of bleachers at Gowan Park, which is an address of 31 Edward Street East in Creemore, as outlined in Appendix A and B to this report. And item 2, that council authorize the staff and legal counsel to make minor amendments to the agreement prior to execution. And item 3, that council authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the agreements on behalf of the municipality. Okay. Mr. MacArthur, would you like to move this? Thank you. And I'll ask for a seconder. Perhaps Mr. Beelan, you're an old ball player. Very good. Mr. CAO, would you like to speak to this, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is really just following the direction from our legal counsel on how we would have to do this. So it requires a lease so that Mr. Ziegel can work on that piece of municipal property. And then the trust agreement really relates to the back and forth flow of money as it relates to donations, primarily.
Okay. Is there any questions from our council to the CAO? Yes, Mr. MacArthur, please.
Yeah, through your worship to John, did we ever get clarification on tax receipts at all, or black and white?
So CRA interpreted one way, and it was not, that way we would not be able to proceed. But if we purchase the items ourselves, but then that money is donated back, then it would qualify for a tax receipt.
So for clarification, Mr. CAO, this project will be entered into, and we will be leveraging the reserves of the Recreation Department to purchase the required items and time, material, et cetera. And then we will work with Mr. Ziegel, the operator who's going to operate this agreement, so that donations will be funneled back to the municipality, and therefore the clerk's office can issue CRA receipts for the work. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're under the Income Tax Act. Municipalities are classified as charitable status to issue tax receipts. Yeah. But there's certain processes that we have to follow, and that's why it's set up this way.
Yeah. So again, through the Treasury, through the Clerk's Department, through your office, they'll all be handling how we make that work so that we can all remain legal. Comfortable? All right. Members of council, any questions? Nothing? All right. Very good. If there's nothing further, there's a motion in front of us. Council, I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Excellent. I'm going to get this project underway. All right, council, going to move to our bylaws. We have several here tonight. First one is the municipal significant event policy. Be it resolved that bylaw 2621, being a bylaw to establish a municipal significant event policy, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 11th day of May, 2026. Mr. Walker, Mr. Beelan, thank you. Any questions on the bylaw? Seeing none, all in favor? Bylaw carries, thank you. Tax rate for 2026. Be it resolved, bylaw 2627, being a bylaw to set the tax rates and levy taxes for the year 2026, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 11th day of May, 2026. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Deneen, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. All in favor? Bylaw carries. Thank you very much. The lease agreement for 1585 Klondike Park Road, Wasaga Beach.
Sorry, I missed this one too on the declaration.
Oh, correct. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. MacArthur. Mr. MacArthur is declaring a conflict on this item, and so we'll step back from the table. Council, I'll start again. This is bylaw 2630. Be it resolved that bylaw 2630 being a bylaw to authorize entering into a lease agreement with Skydive Wasaga Beach Incorporated for use of a portion of land located at 1585 Klondike Park Road, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 11th day of May, 2026. Okay, mover and seconder on this bylaw. Okay, Broderick is in there. Let's see, Deneen is in there. All right, thank you. Any questions? I'll call the bylaw. All in favor? That carries. Who's going skydiving? Counselor Walker, you're gonna, I don't know. We can get you up there. That'd be a lot of fun. I'll tell you right now. Good for, yeah. All right. We're going to welcome back Councillor MacArthur. Bylaws are now completed. At this time, we're going to move to our notice of motions and new business. There is a motion that Councillor MacArthur put on the floor. Councillor MacArthur, I'm going to consider you the mover of this motion, and I'll read it, and we'll look for a seconder, and we'll have a discussion. All right? Public's request for addition. It says here, recommendation, whereas the Public Sector Salary Disclosure Act passed in 1996 required that every public employer make available for inspection by the public without charge a written record of the amount of salary and benefits paid in the previous year by the employer to or in respect of an employee to whom the employer paid at least $100,000 as a salary. And whereas this $100,000 salary threshold has not been updated since 1996 to reflect inflation, and whereas the Consumer Price Index adjustments, $100,000, is equivalent to just over $180,000 today. Now therefore, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview requests that the Public Sector Salary Disclosure Act be amended to reflect the impact of inflation on the $100,000 salary threshold for reporting by either adding wording to reflect annual adjustments related to the Consumer Price Index or providing an adjusted salary of $200,000. And that this resolution be sent to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Simcoe Grey MPP Brian Saunderson, Association of Municipalities and all Ontario municipalities. Mr. MacArthur is the mover. Looking for a seconder on the motion. Is there a seconder on the floor? Mr. Broderick, thank you very much. Mr. MacArthur, I'll give you the chance to go ahead and speak on this.
Yeah, as we discovered when we were researching this made the rounds in 2024, I believe. I can't remember which city started it and whatnot, but I just feel it's something we got to knock on the door again, because to me, when you read like every firefighter and police officer pretty near in the province is on this list, and then I consider them your average everyday citizens. To me, they don't need to be exposed to the public sector just for those reasons of, there's so many of them. And now your neighbor knows how much you make and whatnot. So I think it's just time. I know it's probably like knocking our head against the wall, but let's give it throw it out there again with your support.
Thank you. Are there other members of council with comments or questions? Councillor Deneen?
The adjustments related to the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, the part I'm wondering about is providing an adjusted salary of $200,000. Would we just leave it with the Consumer Price Index and hope that they actually work with that rather than put a dollar value on there?
Councillor MacArthur, would you like to answer to that, or do you get any comments?
Yeah, I guess that would keep it going forever type thing, not having to do this in another, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
As per, a strict dollar amount.
Because there's a Consumer Price Index every year.
Yeah.
And just have it raised by that, and
Sure.
have it brought up to date and then done with that index.
Right. Okay, so if we could amend that then to just leave out the adjusted salary of 200?
Yep. We got a friendly amendment, and we're looking, is that a friendly? I'm just looking around the council. Not at all. Mr. Beelan opposes that, so can I ask?
Well, I think you just leave it at 200,000. If you start increasing it to 212 the next year and 213 the next year, the average Joe ain't gonna remember that. They do remember the sunshine list is 100,000 right now, and if you change it to 200,000, the average Joe's gonna remember that. They're not gonna remember, I gotta look it up on the Consumer Price Index or whatever. They don't even look at that. So I think just leave it at 200,000. 30 years from now, some council can do it again. Maybe this council if we're all still here, so.
Holy cow. Mr. MacArthur,
That's the way I feel anyway.
are we going to move ahead with your amendment? Sasha?
Through your worship to the rest of council, it is worded that it's kind of an and/or, kind of giving the choice of the province if they're looking to do it to either go by CPI or providing an adjusted salary of 200,000. So you're kind of leaving some decision-making to the province if they choose to support this.
Yeah, by either adding wording to reflect annual adjustments related to the consumer price index or providing an adjusted salary of 200,000. It's one or the other. Are we comfortable just leaving it like that? Okay, we're just going to leave it like that as a friendly non-amendment. Anybody else with any questions? No questions, comments? All right, I'll just throw one comment in, and that is that while I think that this whole business of the Sunshine List has been, it's been a very interesting tool since 1996. I recall well before I ever got involved in local politics that there was a ticket taker who worked at the TTC, who worked every shift and every possible shift and worked everything they possibly could. And the person had a grade 8 education and did exceed the 100,000 at that time. This was a story that we covered actually back in the day when I was working in the media, and I always found it interesting that somebody who demonstrated that they simply just wanted to work and work and work and work and work can achieve that value and then get their salary now revealed to the entire public just because they reached 100,000. So, you know, there's an awful lot of people out there who work and make $100,000 when they just work like crazy. And there's a lot of people who, you know, perhaps make a whole lot more than that and spend a lot of time on the golf course and to get gold statues made of them. So nevertheless, that's my thought. You have anything else you want to add?
That was the same with some of the nurses. Some of
Yes.
the nurses would work hours and hours and hours and put in way more than they probably, you know.
Should have, yeah.
Well, not should have, but they were there, and they would end up making more than others, and it would, again, be public.
Yeah. So I think there's merit in asking for this, Councillor, and I'll be prepared to support it. So thank you very much for bringing it forward. Members of council, if there's nothing further, we've got a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call it. All those in favor? That also carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Council, I'm going to go well off script here right now. We are underneath new business. And I have some important information that I need to share with the public and with you. Part of our discussions in camera was related to the decisions that I've had to make as mayor. So in front of me are two mayoral decisions that I'm making under strong mayor powers. And before I read them, I want to just give some context to this. Making strong mayor power decisions is not taken lightly, in my opinion. I feel that this is something that I have been, I believe we need to deal with in a timely manner, and we need to use the tools that are available to us as council to move this issue forward. And so I'm grateful that the province provided these tools so that they can be used in a timely manner, and this is why I've brought this forward. I want to thank the clerk for helping me with this, because you know, there's some pretty detailed information in these two documents that I'm about to read. I want to just mention that these are not something that you just sit down as a mayor and write. These are something you have to consult with the staff who understand how to make these motions stick and why they're important. So I'm going to present to you underneath new business an item that brings back an item from our council meeting of 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion about the settlement boundary expansion of Stainer. The discussion put us in the path. This is the second motion that this council has passed, has put us in the direction that now we are positioned to expand our settlement boundary, going through a lengthy process to create an official plan amendment to put the planning tools in place for the settlement boundaries around Stainer. And so looking at the decision that we made as a council last week, it's a good decision, and I don't dispute it. I'm suggesting, though, that we need to amend it such that our Part A and Part B, or Phase 1 and Phase 2 of this project for Stainer, because we have a timely issue that we're facing And I would like the council to consider this mayoral decision that I've prepared to write and prepared to read. And I would like you to know that I'm asking to present this to you all at the table. This is not just from me. I'm just using the tools to be able to put this on the agenda right now so that we can move this forward. So I hope that you respect why I'm doing this, and I have great respect for council members, and that's why, you know, when I was advised that I have strong mayor powers, you were the first people told, and I told you that you would be the first people to know when something like this was going to happen. So that's why I'm doing it right now. So, council, in front of me I have two things. So this is called Mayoral Decision 2608 and 2609. They're both related, so I'll read you the entirety of decision number 1. It's just in number 8, actually, and then I'll sort of give you the highlights from 09. They're both important. So it says, under the authority of Part 6.1, Special Powers and Duties of Heads of Council of the Municipal Act 2001, Section 284-10, if despite the procedure bylaw, the mayor is of the opinion that considering a particular matter could potentially advance a prescribed provincial priority, the mayor may require that council to consider the matter at a meeting, where a meeting is defined underneath section 2.38-1 of the Act. And whereas, as mayor of the Township of Clearview, am of the opinion that the matter of adopting the preferred boundary of the settlement Stainer settlement area could potentially advance the following prescribed provincial priorities of, item 1, building 1.5 million new residential units by December 31st, 2031. Item 2, constructing and maintaining infrastructure to support housing, including transit, roads, utility, and servicing. Therefore, I require council to consider, item 1, the following resolution at the May 25th, 2026 council meeting, which is our next scheduled council meeting. This is the resolution. Whereas Clearview Township has embarked on a major water infrastructure build involving the construction of deep wells and pumps, pumping water through 8 kilometers of water pipeline from Klondike Park Road to the Stainer settlement area. And whereas Clearview Township has entered into agreements with 3 developer groups to contribute financially to the infrastructure projects subject to the Stainer settlement area boundary expansion. And whereas the economic future of the Stainer settlement area in Clearview Township depends on this project and the monetary responsibilities by the township to build and finalize this important water infrastructure project. Be it resolved that council directs staff to initiate a 2-phase approach to the Stainer settlement area boundary expansion. And further, as part of phase 1 of the Stainer settlement area boundary expansion, that council adopt the preferred boundary of the settlement area as defined in the attached map and outlined with black dots as phase 1. That council approve the following technical studies to commence immediately for the preferred boundary. Item 1, a servicing feasibility study, or also known as a master servicing plan. Item 2, an agricultural impact assessment. And item 3, First Nations and Indigenous consultation strategy. And further, these technical studies are to be completed no later than 90 days from council's approval of this motion. And further, council direct the mayor's office to forward the resolution to the County of Simcoe and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So I'm prepared to sign this at the end of this meeting today. It'll be dated today. And our clerk will put this motion on the mayor's decision page immediately, so it'll have public distribution. And then she will, of course, and her deputy will include the full motion in the agenda on the 25th. Okay? Thank you. The second one is very much related to the same. The opening paragraph also outlines the same provision, so I'll just leave that for you to read later. It says now, whereas I, as mayor of the Township of Clearview, am of the opinion that the matter regarding a budget to complete the technical studies for the Stainer settlement boundary expansion could potentially advance the following prescribed provincial priorities. Of item 1, building 1.5 million new residential units by December 31st, and item 2, constructing and maintaining infrastructure to support housing, including transit, roads, utilities, and servicing. Therefore, I require council to consider item 1, the following resolution at the May 25th, 2026 meeting. That Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the budget of $150,000 to complete the technical studies required for the Stainer Settlement Area Boundary Expansion, and that Council direct staff to use the Planning Department's consulting and study budget to fund the studies, with any overruns being covered by the OP Zoning Reserve Fund. This also will be signed by myself later today, and the clerk will publish this also on the town website. So I wanted to give you both, or give all of council the opportunity and members of the public the opportunity to understand. This is, we need to move this forward. We need to be much more expeditious in making sure that we can secure those agreements with our developers that are underneath contractual binding agreements to support our infrastructure project. And we need to move this forward. So the two phases were outlined in our decision last week, 2 weeks ago, which included properties at the northeast corner of Stainer and the southeast and stretching over toward the middle of Stainer areas. So those properties are going to be, if we pass this, studied and become part of the settlement area of Stainer. The phase 2 project will be the entire settlement area of Stainer, which will include supplemental reports that will be part of what our consultants are going to be working on to create those reports. And that can happen 20 months from now or something like that. Okay? So it's, the point is we need to get this done sooner than later. So council, I just wanted to bring this to your attention, and I'll put these on the website, or the clerk will put them on the website first thing tomorrow morning. And you have been provided a copy of them tonight, so you'll have them available to you if you want to read them ahead of time. All right? Did you have something you want to add, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want the public to be aware, who's listening, that we have been kept abreast with the mayor's, what he's trying to do to move this community forward. We have not, this has not been done selfishly or anything, and we have discussed it fully. So we need his powers to make things happen as a team. And I think going forward, there'll be opportunity to speak to it, but we do need, we need to get this moving for the good of our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I appreciate that. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's not something I really wanted to do. I think it's time, and we have an opportunity to move this along now, and instead of waiting, I think that's the real key here for me. It's so much of the work we do seems to just take forever, and we just need to light the fire and get this going. Okay? Thank you, Council. I look forward to discussing this with you on the 25th in open session, but as always, you can reach out to me and call me anytime. Council, at item number 13 on our agenda is a confirmatory bylaw. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 2633, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the May 11, 2026 council meeting, be presented and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on the 11th day of May 2026. Councillor Deneen, thank you very much. Councillor Walker, thank you. Any questions on the bylaw? Seeing none, all in favor? Confirmatory bylaw carries. Thank you. We're going to move to adjournment, which is, what are we at? Let's call it 8:20. Sounds good. 8:20 p.m., folks. Moved by Mr. Broderick, thank you, and seconded by Mr. MacArthur. That the motion for the council to be adjourned. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries unanimously. All the best. See you at the Tulip Days